Chapter 536. Xing Chuan's face reddened as he felt extremely ashamed. He could not wait to dig a hole and hide himself. He had only sealed the soul of a 4th-level Martial King zombie guard, but he was already so proud of himself. Compared to Lu Ming, there was a world of difference. There was no way to compare them at all. There was no way to know how many levels they were inferior. Earlier on, Lu Ming was right when he said that he was a disgrace. How is this possible? How is it possible for this kid to be able to seal a 5th layer and 6th layer Martial Emperor Realm zombie guard? Xing Chuan was utterly confused. How dare you, Lu Ming? What punishment do you deserve? At that instant, Xing Yao suddenly uttered a roar, causing the entire place to tremble. The crowd immediately gathered their attention onto Xing Yao's figure, their eyes filled with doubts. Lu Ming's eyes flickered as he glanced at Xing Yao and calmly said, "What crime have I committed?" "What crime? You might be able to fool the others, but can you fool me? Lu Ming, with your cultivation, how could you kill 4th layer, 5th layer, and 6th layer Martial Emperor Realm zombie guards? How is that possible? If you have the ability, tell me, how did you kill him?" Xing Yao said in a cold tone. I don't think I need to explain how I did it to you. Besides, I don't think the Tian Divine Guards are required to tell me how they completed their missions. Lu Ming calmly said. Still trying to deny it. Lu Ming, with your cultivation, it's impossible for you to kill so many zombie guards. There's only one possibility, which is that these soul-sealing crystals belong to someone else, another Tian Divine Guard. You've used some despicable method to kill the other Tian Divine Guards and steal their soul-sealing crystals. How dare you say you're not guilty of such a serious crime? You deserve to die. Xing Yao snapped. The crowd was startled as they fell into deep thoughts. They agreed with Xing Yao's words, as this was the only possibility that could explain how Lu Ming had obtained so many soul-sealing crystals. Lu Ming, how dare you commit such a heinous crime? You deserve to die. Seizing the opportunity, Xing Chuan shouted. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes as he asked coldly, "Where's the evidence?" Evidence? There's no need for evidence. This is the truth. Damn it. Xing Yao shouted. Ha 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 ha. Lu Ming suddenly laughed out loud and said, "Xing Yao, is this how you become an elder of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace? Everything is just your wild speculation, and you want to convict me of a great crime? What a joke. Based on what you've said, you can convict anyone you don't like in the future? Laughable, extremely laughable. All right then, I'll say that you bullied the Tian Divine Guards outside the Xing clan, bullied the weak, and snatched ordinary women. Xing Yao, how should you be punished?" Lu Ming's voice reverberated throughout the arena, his imposing manner imposing. "Audacious little bastard, you dare to slander me and slander me." Xing Yao roared. What slander? That's the truth. Hurry up and kneel down and admit your guilt. Lu Ming sneered. You're courting death, little bastard. I'll cripple you now. A terrifying aura erupted from Xing Yao's body. His eyes were fierce, as if he was about to devour someone. Xing Yao, apart from the Xing clan, are you going to kill the other Tian Divine Guards if they don't listen to you? Does the Xing clan want to get rid of the other Tian Divine Guards and dominate the Tianxian region? Are you looking down on Martial Emperor De? Lu Ming circulated his true origin and was ready to escape. However, he was shouting and accusing Xing Yao. Little bastard, you dare to slander me? Xing Yao roared, but he did not make a move. Tianxian City was not like the Eastern Branch Palace. In the Eastern Branch Palace, even if he killed Lu Ming, it would be fine. However, in Tianxian City, there was not only the Xing clan, but also the Mu clan. The Xing clan and the Mu clan seemed to be on good terms, but they were competitors in secret. Xing Yao had quite a number of enemies. Not to mention the Mu family, even within the Xing family, Xing Yao had enemies. If he did something out of line and was caught by his enemies, then his days would not be easy. Therefore, if he were to take action against Lu Ming in public without any concrete evidence, he was afraid that his opponent would really have something on him and use it to attack him. For a moment, his face turned red, but he did not make a move. He was hesitant. Damn it, this little bastard. I'll find a chance to kill him. Xing Yao roared in his heart. Lu Ming, how dare you be so rude to Elder Xing Yao? Kneel down and admit your mistake. At this moment, Xingchuan jumped out and shouted. Haha. Lu Ming only responded with a sneer. Xingchuan gritted his teeth and shouted, Lu Ming, I think Elder Xing Yao has a point. Did you secretly kill the other Empyrean divine guards and steal their soul-sealing crystals? How about this, I'll challenge you now. If you can defeat me, I'll admit your strength and prove that you have the ability to obtain those soul-sealing crystals. Xingchuan shouted. His eyes kept rolling as he thought of a vicious idea. Xing Yao's eyes lit up. He looked at Xingchuan with admiration. He wondered if he had lost his mind from anger or if this kid was smart. In this way, if Lu Ming still did not accept the challenge, it would mean that he had a guilty conscience. They could then use this as a reason to investigate Lu Ming. If Lu Ming accepted the challenge and lost to Xingchuan, needless to say, the accusation would be confirmed. As for Lu Ming defeating Xingchuan, was it possible? Lu Ming had just arrived in Tianxian City and was only a second-layer martial king. How could he be a match for Xingchuan in such a short time? Xingchuan had already reached mid-fifth layer martial king. This was a vicious move. Xingchuan was overjoyed after seeing Xing Yao's admiring gaze. He secretly praised himself for being smart enough to come up with such a plan. If he could settle this matter today, Xing Yao would surely put him in an important position in the future. Are you really going to challenge me? Lu Ming wore a strange expression as he glanced at Xingchuan with an indifferent smile. Nonsense, don't you have ears? Come on, do you dare to accept the challenge? If you don't, then your strength is questionable. Xingchuan let out a hollow laugh. Oh. If that's the case, I'll accept your challenge. Lu Ming's eyes flickered coldly as he said. As soon as these words were spoken, another round of intense discussion broke out in the audience. Lu Ming accepted the challenge. He accepted Xingchuan's challenge. How unwise. What do you mean unwise? It's impossible for him to back down now. How is he going to explain himself by taking out so many soul-sealing crystals? That's right. He can only blame himself for being too high-profile just now. He didn't know how to endure. If he had endured just now, at most he would have lost a little face. Then, he would have secretly turned in the mission later and nothing would have happened. If it were me, I would definitely have done that. That's right, I agree. He accepted the challenge. Xingchuan's eyes flickered with joy. Lu Ming accepted his challenge. Great. Hee. Xing Yao let out a hollow laugh. Lu Ming, you won't be able to escape this time around. Xing Wushuan's eyes flickered with a vicious look. Come, let's battle on the Divine Guard battle platform. Chapter 537. What's the hurry? I haven't received my reward yet. Lu Ming said indifferently and looked at the old man on the counter. The old man took out a storage ring and handed it to Lu Ming. There are 880,000 supreme-grade spiritual crystals here. You can count them. There's no need to count them. Lu Ming smiled. The storage ring flashed and all the supreme-grade spiritual crystals were transferred to Lu Ming's storage ring. Lu Ming then returned the storage ring to the old man. Now that you've received your reward, won't you have to spit it out later? Xingchuan sneered. Is that so? Don't cry later. Lu Ming curled his lips. Lu Ming then stepped forward and walked towards the Divine Guard battle platform. There was a Divine Guard battle platform in all the branches of the Emperor Sky Divine Palace. Let's go and take a look. The people in the mission hall swarmed towards the Divine Guard battle platform. There were about 500 to 600 people. Some of them had even used voice transmission talismans to ask their friends and family to go to the Divine Guard battle platform. 500 to 600 people walking on the street naturally caused a commotion. Many people were curious and asked around. After hearing the whole story, they followed the crowd to the Divine Guard battle platform. The number of people increased rapidly and soon, there were a few thousand people. Lu Ming walked to the front of the crowd. When he arrived at the Divine Guard battle platform, he was stunned because the Divine Guard battle platform was already surrounded by people. It seemed like some people had received the news and rushed to the Divine Guard battle platform. There are so many young experts from the Xing family here. Isn't that so? It's no wonder. Not many people dare to offend the Xing family. It's normal for the geniuses of the Xing family to come and take a look. I hope that Lu Ming can withstand a few more moves and not die so quickly. Otherwise, I would have come all the way here for nothing. That's right. Whispers could be heard all around. The smile on Lu Ming's face deepened. Whoosh! Arriving at the edge of the battle stage, Xing Chuan leaped over 100 meters with a single step and leaped onto the stage. He looked down at Lu Ming and said, "Lu Ming, come up quickly." Lu Ming smiled faintly and walked up the stairs of the Divine Guard battle platform step by step. Arriving at the Divine Guard battle platform, Huang Xiaolong and Xing Chuan stood opposite each other. "Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, I didn't think that you would actually dare to accept my challenge. I really don't know where you got your guts from. 3 moves, I will defeat you in 3 moves." Xing Chuan smiled disdainfully. 3 moves? Xing Chuan, you have the nerve to say that. If it were me, I would have defeated him in 2 moves. No, 1 move is enough. 1 move is enough to beat him into a pig's head. Believe it or not, Xing Chuan, it would be too embarrassing if you really defeated him in 3 moves. Xing Chuan, this brat is too arrogant. I heard that he has repeatedly challenged the authority of the Xing family. Today, you must cripple him and let him know the consequences of offending the Xing family. That's right, cripple him. At the edge of the battle stage, some of the Xing family's young geniuses shouted. Their voices were filled with indifference and arrogance as if Lu Ming was a pitiful bug that could be crushed at will. The smile on Xing Chuan's face deepened. He looked at Lu Ming with contempt and said, "Lu Ming, did you hear that? This is the consequence of offending the Xing family." Consequence? Just relying on your Xing family's glib tongue? Lu Ming smiled faintly. "Humph, you'll be crying later." Xing Chuan's eyes turned cold. "How about this? A direct battle is too boring. Let's make a bet. What do you think?" Lu Ming suddenly said. He still remembered that he had made a fortune from the previous battle with Xue Chao. Naturally, he wouldn't let go of this opportunity. Bet? What do you want to bet? Xing Chuan's eyes lit up. "Let's bet 20 profound crystals. If I lose, I'll give you 20 earth profound crystals. If you lose, you'll give me 20 wind profound crystals. What do you think?" Lu Ming smiled. "Earth element profound crystal? You have them?" Xing Chuan's eyes lit up. He had comprehended the earth concept. Lu Ming smiled. With a wave of his hand, 20 earth profound crystals appeared in the air, emitting a strong earth concept. These earth profound crystals were obtained from the Scaled Demon tribe in the Scaled Demon Plain with Han Man and the others. Lu Ming also had a mid-grade earth profound crystal. Later, when Han Man and the others were killed by Lu Ming, those profound crystals naturally fell into Lu Ming's pocket. They're really earth profound crystals. Xing Chuan's eyes emitted a blazing light. "Where's your wind profound crystal? Take it out," Lu Ming said. "Humph, Lu Ming, are you afraid that I'll go back on my word?" Xing Chuan snorted coldly. "I'm afraid that you'll go back on your word," Lu Ming said. "You," Xing Chuan gritted his teeth. But where could he find so many wind profound crystals? "Xing Chuan, I have a few wind profound crystals. I'll lend them to you first. I have a few too. The young men of the sacred family standing next to him spoke up, taking out several Upanishad crystals of wind class. Xing Chuan was overjoyed. He took them one by one and said loudly, "Brothers, I'll borrow these profound crystals first. I'll return them to you later." From his tone, it was as if he could win. Hurry up and cripple that kid. I still need to go back and cultivate. The other Xing family youths said. Don't worry, it'll be quick. Xing Chuan took the profound crystals and returned to the opposite side of Lu Ming, saying, 20 profound crystals. Not one less. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Right now, what he desired the most was wind profound crystals. However, 20 profound crystals are a bit too little. Lu Ming looked at the Xing family youths and his eyes lit up as if he had thought of something. Boom! At this moment, Xing Chuan put away the wind profound crystals and a powerful aura erupted from his body. The aura of a mid-5th level martial king. Lu Ming, lose! Xing Chuan shouted. Boom! He punched out and a huge mountain appeared in the sky. It was a few hundred feet tall and pressed down on Lu Ming. The aura was extremely majestic. Compared to this huge mountain, Lu Ming's body seemed extremely small. Is this first-level lesser success Earth concept? So powerful. Many low-level kings and even martial artists below the king realm were amazed. Break! Lu Ming let out a long howl. A ray of spear gleam shot up into the sky and collided with the mountain. Boom! The spear light and the mountain collided. After a while, there was a loud explosion. The mountain exploded and the spear light disappeared. Bang! Bang! Xing Chuan and Lu Ming both took 7 or 8 steps back. The difference was that there was a strange smile at the corners of Lu Ming's lips. On the other hand, Xing Chuan's expression changed drastically. Damn it! Xing Chuan roared. He was humiliated that he was forced back by Lu Ming. It's a tie. It's a tie. Lu Ming can withstand Xing Chuan's attack. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I didn't expect Lu Ming to be so powerful. No wonder he dares to fight with Xing Chuan. Chapter 538. Xing Yao and Xing Wushuang were also dumbfounded. This little bastard is too terrifying. How long has it been? He's already grown to this level. Damn it, damn it. Xing Yao roared in his heart. Xing Wushuang's eyes almost popped out as a look of horror flashed across his eyes. Xing Chuan didn't use his full strength just now. Lu Ming can't possibly be his opponent. Xing Yao took a deep breath and said coldly. Many people nodded when they heard this. Xing Chuan was probably just testing the waters earlier. As for Lu Ming, he had most likely exerted his full strength. Lu Ming, I only used 50% of my strength just now. Now, take this. Thousand Mountain Heavenly Fist. Xing Chuan roared as his bloodline erupted. There was no doubt that it was the 6th level king bloodline. At the same time, he continuously punched out with both fists. Boom! Boom! Heaven and earth trembled as the vast fist shadows turned into tall mountains. The mountain peaks were stacked upon one another, as if there really were 1,000 of them. Suppress him! Xing Chuan roared as the mountains in the sky crashed down on Lu Ming. It's a pity that I haven't cultivated it to perfection. How much strength should I use? 1 floor or half a floor? Lu Ming was a little conflicted. He had a plan in mind. He wanted to cast a long line to catch a big fish. He was afraid that he would scare the big fish away if he showed too much strength. Forget it, I'll use 10% of my strength first. Buzz! Lu Ming held the long spear and blasted it out. Ah, break for me, break for me. Lu Ming deliberately shouted at the top of his lungs. He had only used 10% of his strength, but he pretended that he had used 12% of his strength. The veins on his face bulged as he roared with all his strength. Boom! Lu Ming destroyed a mountain peak that came crashing down. However, the second mountain peak came crashing down. Lu Ming stabbed out with his spear and the mountain peak continued to collapse. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, let's see how many mountains you can destroy. Xing Chuan laughed and punched out continuously. The mountains in the sky continued to press down. Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand. The spear light soared into the sky and became 1,000 meters long, constantly destroying the mountains. Boom! Boom! Between heaven and earth, rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly. Fortunately, the Divine Guard battle platform was wide enough for them to fight. Soon, dozens of moves had passed. Lu Ming had smashed dozens of mountains in succession, and then rushed towards the holy river. Bang! Bang! Every time Lu Ming stepped on the fighting ring, there would be a roaring sound. Sizzle, lightning flashed in Lu Ming's hand as a powerful force of lightning burst out. Lesser Completion King. Lu Ming, that little bastard, has actually reached the Lesser Completion King realm. His battle strength is so strong that he can actually fight against Xing Chuan. He can't be left alive. This little bastard can't be left alive. Xing Yao roared in his heart. He clearly sensed that Lu Ming's cultivation was at the early 4th layer Martial Emperor realm. This shocked him greatly. Thunderbolt. In the fighting ring, Lu Ming roared. With a thrust of his spear, the sky was filled with lightning, and the mountains were destroyed one after another. This move was not a martial technique at all. It was Lu Ming's roar. If he used a martial technique like the 3 skills of the Dragon God, he was afraid that Xing Chuan would be killed instantly. Therefore, he could only use a random move and call out a loud name. Damn it, it's not easy to pretend to be weak. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. However, Xing Chuan was so shocked that he gasped. He shouted and covered his body with black stones to block the lightning attack. Sizzle, as the lightning swept over, the stones continued to collapse. How could this be? Xing Chuan is actually at a disadvantage? Nest, that kid is actually so strong? Is Xing Chuan going to lose? There was another round of intense discussion all around. Damn it, damn it. Xing Chuan roared again and again, trying his best to fight against Lu Ming. However, Xing Chuan was already at a disadvantage, and he was slowly being suppressed by Lu Ming. The two of them exchanged more than 10 moves. Xing Chuan was hit by Lu Ming's spear. He screamed and his body flew far away. He fell heavily on the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. Whoosh! Lu Ming rushed up and stepped on Xing Chuan's face, pressing him firmly on the fighting ring. Ah! Ah! Xing Chuan struggled madly and roared, trying to break free. However, with Lu Ming stepping on his face, he couldn't break free at all. He was about to go crazy. It's over. Xing Chuan knew that he was finished. His face was stepped on by Lu Ming in public. From now on, he wouldn't be able to raise his head in the Xing family. His future was also ruined. Lu Ming, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. Xing Chuan roared madly. Slap. Lu Ming's response was a slap. The slap directly on Xing Chuan's face stopped Xing Chuan's scream abruptly. He was dumbfounded. How dare you, little bastard? How dare you slap the face of the Xing family's hero? You're courting death. Move your stinky foot away now. I want you to die without a burial place. The surrounding Xing family's youths roared. As for Xing Yao, he was so angry that his eyes were burning. What are you shouting for? A bunch of bastards. This is the Divine Guard battle ring. It's good that I didn't kill him. What's wrong with stepping on his foot? Lu Ming scanned the surroundings and hollered loudly, looking arrogant and haughty. This made the surrounding Xing family's youths so angry that they almost vomited blood. Ah, don't stop me. I'm going to kill him. A Xing family's youth roared. Lu Ming ignored them and looked at Xing Chuan again. Now, you've lost. Hand over the 20 wind attribute esoteric crystals. Little bastard, you still want esoteric crystals? Dream on. Xing Chuan roared. Are you trying to cheat? Hand it over quickly. Lu Ming shouted. I'm not going to hand it over. What can you do about it? You still want esoteric crystals? Dream on. Xing Chuan laughed. Lu Ming pointed at Xing Chuan and gritted his teeth. Ha ha ha, seeing Lu Ming's expression, Xing Chuan laughed heartily. But in the next moment, he couldn't laugh anymore. Lu Ming bent down slowly and took off the storage ring on Xing Chuan's finger. You. What are you doing? Give me back my storage ring. Xing Chuan screamed. Give it back to you? I'm just using my winnings as a bet. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Give it back to me. 20 esoteric crystals. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. Xing Chuan yelled. This storage ring was his entire fortune. It's too late now. Lu Ming's finger glowed as he kept Xing Chuan's storage ring. You cheated. You cheated. Xing Chuan shouted. I cheated? Weren't you the one who cheated first? All right, trash. Get down. Lu Ming got up and gave a kick. Xing Chuan screamed miserably. Like a broken sack, he was sent flying by Lu Ming's kick. He slid across a distance of 7 to 8 miles and fell off the Divine Guard battle platform. His screams resounded throughout the place. Little bastard, how dare you? You're courting death. Hand over your storage ring and kneel down to admit your mistake. I'll spare your life. Chapter 539. After all, Xing Chuan was also a genius of the Xing family. Now that he had been beaten up so badly, they felt humiliated. Xing Yao's eyes flashed with killing intent. He really wanted to rush up and slap Lu Ming to death. However, this was the Divine Guard battle platform. As an elder, he did not dare to make a move. There were some rules that even the Xing family did not dare to break. The Xing family was the overlord of the Tianxian domain, but they were like ants in front of the entire Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. A bunch of bastards. What are you arguing about? Lu Ming looked at the young men of the Xing family and scolded them. His attitude was as arrogant as it could get. Damn it, the young men of the Xing family were so angry that their eyes turned red. As the young men of the Xing family, they were usually high and mighty. In the Tianxian domain, they were the overlords. Even if they went to some high-tier empires, the old ancestors and emperors of those empires would have to be respectful in front of them. Since when did anyone dare to scold them? Who dared to call them bastards in front of so many people? They were about to lose control of their killing intent. I can't take it anymore. Little bastard, I want to challenge you. Do you dare to accept my challenge? A young man of the Xing family roared. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He immediately looked at the young man and said, You want to challenge me? Do you have wind elemental profound crystals? If not, don't bother me. Lu Ming waved his hand impatiently. Wind elemental profound crystals. I'll borrow them. The young man gritted his teeth and borrowed from the people around him. Many people had to give face to the young men of the Xing family. Soon, he had borrowed 20 wind elemental profound crystals. Now, 20 wind elemental profound crystals are here. Do you dare to accept my challenge? The young man shouted. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and the smile on his face became wider. He said, Oh. All right then, I agree to fight you. His words caused an uproar. Lu Ming actually accepted Xing Fei's challenge? He's finished. He probably doesn't know Xing Fei's cultivation level. Xing Fei has already reached the early 6th layer of the Martial King realm. Xing Chuan is nothing in front of Xing Fei. That's right. Lu Ming's battle prowess is only slightly higher than Xingchuan's. He's dead for sure. He'll have to spit out everything he just took. Ha ha ha, Xing Fei was overjoyed when he heard Lu Ming's reply. In a flicker, he flew towards the Divine Guard battle platform. Even within the restricted airspace of Tianxian City, it still appeared very graceful. Xing Fei stepped onto the battle platform and quickly appeared in front of Lu Ming, his eyes flashing with cold killing intent. Lu Ming, you shouldn't have accepted my challenge. It's too late for regrets now. Xing Fei laughed. Just now, Xingchuan was just as arrogant. In the end, didn't he cry for his parents? Lu Ming curled his lips. Below the battle stage, Xingchuan, who was healing himself, almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Who cried for their parents? He was just roaring, not crying for his parents. Lu Ming was just talking nonsense. If his words were spread, he would be even more embarrassed. Don't compare that trash Xingchuan with me. Xing Fei sneered. In my eyes, you're all trash. Lu Ming said indifferently. Below the battle stage, Xingchuan was already trembling. He roared in his heart, if you want to fight, then fight. Don't involve me. I'm already miserable enough. You're courting death. Xing Fei roared, his killing intent incomparably cold. A terrifying aura erupted from his body. Early stage 6th Martial King Realm. At the same time, a powerful wind essence filled the air. It was as if a strong wind was blowing between heaven and earth. The aura was several times stronger than Xingchuan's. Xing Fei has comprehended the wind essence. His attacks are as fast as lightning, and his attacks are like a storm. He's invincible. With Lu Ming's battle prowess, I reckon he won't be able to withstand 10 moves. 10 moves? It'll be good if he can withstand 3 moves. I reckon Lu Ming is regretting it now. He probably didn't expect Xing Fei to be so powerful. Around them, many people were discussing and expressing their opinions. Clang! A slender long sword appeared in Xing Fei's hand. Go to hell. Xing Fei moved his body and started to attack. Whoosh! Whoosh! In an instant, countless sword chi burst out from Xing Fei's hand, enveloping the whole area and sweeping toward Lu Ming. That was too fast. Lu Ming is doomed. Many people thought. But in the next moment, Lu Ming moved. His body kept flickering, shuttling back and forth in the sky full of sword chi, trying his best to avoid it. Although it was very dangerous, Lu Ming avoided it one by one. Many people were dumbfounded. Nest, I know. Lu Ming has also comprehended the wind essence, so he can avoid it. No way. I saw that his thunder essence has already reached lower level 1. Could it be that he has also comprehended the wind essence and condensed essence runes? That's terrifying. Lu Ming emitted the wind essence and sensed the changes in the wind around him. Although his wind essence was not as profound as Xing Fei's, it was enough to avoid the sword chi. Humph, then I'll defeat you with my strength. Xing Fei shouted coldly, and the sword chi in the sky disappeared instantly. Whoosh! The sword chi in the sky seemed to condense into one, turning into a sparkling blue sword chi. It instantly pierced through the void and stabbed toward Lu Ming. He wanted to crush Lu Ming with his powerful cultivation of LV6 Martial King Realm. Lu Ming's eyes flashed, and he stabbed out with his spear. Clang! The tip of the spear and the tip of the sword collided. Suddenly, sword chi and spear radiance burst out in all directions. Xing Fei's body trembled, and his expression changed drastically. Bang 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 bang, he took a dozen steps back. Of course, Lu Ming also took a dozen steps back symbolically. In the eyes of outsiders, they were evenly matched. Whoosh! The crowd was in an uproar. Lu Ming had actually blocked Xing Fei's attack. How was that possible? What was going on? Wasn't Lu Ming only slightly stronger than Xingchuan just now? How could he block Xing Fei's attack now? Hiding his strength. Lu Ming definitely hid his strength just now. Someone yelled. Everyone came to a realization. That was right, that was the only possibility. Lu Ming had actually hidden his strength. What was he trying to do? Was he trying to lure Xing Fei down to earn ultimacy crystals? Some quick-witted people had already thought of this point, and they could not help but be dumbfounded. Lu Ming was too bold to use such a method to earn ultimacy crystals from the Xing family's heroes. Among the crowd, Xing Yao and Xing Wushuang were the most shocked. Because a few months ago, Lu Ming was far from being this strong in the Eastern Branch Palace. How long had it been since then? He was simply a monster. Xing Wushuang, in particular, was almost scared to death. When Lu Ming first joined the Empyrean Divine Guards, he was not even a half-step king. At that time, he could completely crush Lu Ming with his strength. But now? He was not even worthy of carrying Lu Ming's shoes. How could this be? How could this be? Chapter 540. Is this all you've got? It's nothing much. Lu Ming looked at Xing Fei and smiled faintly. Die! Xing Fei roared. He suppressed the shock in his heart and charged at Lu Ming. Holding a long spear, Lu Ming dashed forward and engaged in a fierce battle with Xing Fei. The two of them seemed to be evenly matched and the battle was extremely intense. Then, just like the battle with Xing Chuan, Lu Ming slowly gained the upper hand after dozens of moves. After dozens of moves, Lu Ming defeated Xing Fei with much difficulty, causing him to vomit a mouthful of blood. The crowd was dumbfounded. Lu Ming won again. You've lost. Hand over the ultimacy crystals. Lu Ming looked at Xing Fei indifferently. Xing Fei roared in his heart. He really didn't want to hand them over. But when he thought of Xing Chuan's fate, he shuddered and could only grit his teeth and hand over 20 ultimacy crystals. Lu Ming put them away happily and didn't forget to mutter, "What Xing family's heroes? They're all trash." Of course, he didn't lower his voice and spread it far and wide. Immediately, the Xing family's people burst into an uproar. This bastard is too arrogant. Die, I want him dead. Damn it, someone kill him. Some of the Xing family's young heroes roared in anger. Even some of the older generation's people were so angry that their eyes turned red. But for a moment, no one came out to challenge Lu Ming. Lu Ming's combat strength was too strange. When he fought with Xing Chuan, he seemed to be only slightly stronger than Xing Chuan. But later on, when he fought with Xing Fei, his combat strength increased rapidly and became slightly stronger than Xing Fei. They couldn't tell if Lu Ming was still hiding his strength. Now, Lu Ming was simply unfathomable in their hearts. It turns out that the so-called Xing family's heroes are just cowards. Lu Ming sneered. Bastard, what did you say? Say it again. The Xing family's heroes were enraged. Isn't that so? If you don't want to challenge me, then fine, I'll challenge you now. Lu Ming pointed his long spear in the direction of the Xing family's youths. His battle intent soared to the skies as he shouted, "Now, I challenge all of you. All of you, come at me together. Come at me together." These short words were like a storm that engulfed the entire place. The battle platform was in an uproar. Lu Ming had actually taken the initiative to issue a challenge, and had even challenged all of the Sacred Clan's heroes present. Crazy, he was crazy. There were at least 100 young geniuses from the Saint family present. There were also more than 20 kings at or above the initial stage. Lu Ming actually wanted to challenge all of the Xing family's youths by himself. This was an insult, a naked insult. He was looking down on the many heroes of the Saint clan. Damn it, this brat deserves to die. Arrogant and ignorant. I'm going to kill him. The heroes of the Saint family roared furiously. What? Do you only know how to shout? Are you afraid to go on stage? Lu Ming continued to point his long spear at the youths, provoking them. His eyes revealed a trace of madness. The reason why Lu Ming repeatedly provoked the Xing family today was to establish his power. That's right, establish his power. Ever since he came to Tianxian City, he had been provoked by the Xing family. Wherever he went, there would be people from the Xing family provoking him. Lu Ming was annoyed. Since that was the case, he might as well go all out. He would establish his power and display his powerful battle strength to intimidate the Xing family. This way, the Xing family would calm down for a period of time. Lu Ming took advantage of this time to increase his cultivation. This was Lu Ming's goal. Since they were already mortal enemies, he wasn't afraid of offending them. Since you're courting death, we'll fulfill your wish. Brothers, let's go and teach him a lesson. A hero of the Xing family roared and rushed toward the Divine Guard battle platform. In a few breaths, he had covered 10 miles and appeared in front of Lu Ming. He didn't hide his aura at all. Late-stage 6th level Martial King. He was much stronger than Xing Fei. Go, go. Whoosh. Whoosh. The sound of something breaking through the air was heard. One by one, the youths of the Saint family rushed onto the fighting ring and surrounded Lu Ming. 19. A total of 19 people. All of them were above the 4th level of the Martial King realm, and all of them were low-level Martial Kings. As for those below the level of King realm, there was no need for them to come up, because they wouldn't pose much of a threat to Lu Ming. And the two of us. With 2 long howls, 2 more youths from the crowd rushed onto the battle stage. One was wearing a red robe, while the other was wearing a green robe. The 2 of them were extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, they had already reached the fighting stage. The aura they emitted was extremely terrifying. The peak of the 6th layer of the Martial King realm. It's Saint Chong and Saint Wolf. Someone exclaimed. Supposedly, the 2 of them entered into closed-door cultivation a few months ago with the intention of charging into the sovereign realm. I never expected that they'd come out of closed-door cultivation now. It seems that he hasn't succeeded yet. He's still a small perfection king. However, he's only a step away from great perfection king. Sounds of discussion could be heard all around. On the battle stage, the other elites of the Saint clan were also overjoyed when they saw the 2 of them. I didn't expect that someone would look down on the Saint clan while I was in closed-door cultivation for a few months. He deserves to die. The blue-robed youth, Xing Chong, said coldly. His eyes were like huge waves as he opened and closed them. That's good too. Today is a good time to show our might. Don't let others think that there's no one left in the Saint clan. Saint Wolf's eyes flashed with a fierce light like a wild beast. A total of 21 people surrounded Lu Ming. Their auras merged and were extremely terrifying. Are you all here yet? If so, let's fight. I'm too lazy to bet with you. Lu Ming said indifferently. His face was calm, as if he didn't feel any pressure being surrounded by so many people. Pretending to be relaxed. I'd like to see how strong you are. Attack. Xing Chong said coldly. Boom. Boom. Suddenly, the battle stage went berserk. 21 auras soared into the sky. 21 attacks merged and crushed toward Lu Ming. Yes, crushed. Lu Ming couldn't dodge and could only take it head-on. He's dead. Lu Ming is dead. Under this move, anyone below Great Perfection King will die. Who can he blame for his own death? Does he really think that he can be arrogant after defeating Xing Fei and Xing Chuan? Even if he has the strength of a peak 6th level Martial King, he's still going to die. Boom. At this moment, Lu Ming exploded. The second bloodline merged with his body and circulated his true yuan to the extreme. At the same time, the 3 wills merged and exploded. An unimaginable spear light soared into the sky. This spear light seemed to be able to pierce through heaven and earth and everything. Boom. The joint attack of the 21 elites of the Saint clan collapsed under this spear light. Whoosh. Moon seizing. Lu Ming shouted. His long hair fluttered as the spear in his hand became 1,000 meters long and swept out. A full moon appeared on the battle stage. Chapter 541. Bang! Bang! The elites of the Xing family were sent flying backward like sandbags. With Lu Ming as the center, the heroes from the sacred family were thrown backward. They slid along the fighting ring at high speed. They only came to a stop after sliding for a few miles. Blood kept spurting out of their mouths. They were all martial artists of LV for Martial King Realm. They were vulnerable in front of Lu Ming. The martial artists of LV5 Martial King Realm were also thrown back, but they didn't fall to the ground. They were still able to stand firm, but blood was spilling out of their mouths. Only the martial artists of LV6 Martial King Realm were able to block the attack head-on, but they also took dozens of steps back. Even Xing Chong and Xing Lang took 7 or 8 steps back. The encirclement of the heroes of the Xing family was instantly shattered by Lu Ming's attack. Boom! Boom! Below the fighting ring, countless people couldn't control their emotions when they saw this scene. Their auras surged out violently, and their eyes were wide open as they roared. 3 wills of heaven and earth. Lu Ming has comprehended 3 wills of heaven and earth. 3 wills of heaven and earth were condensed into wills runes, and 2 of them were cultivated to the level 1 lower success. How did he do it? Impossible. Cultivating multiple wills will create resistance between each other. How did he do it? How could this be? He's too powerful. The Xing family is no match for him. They were all defeated in one move. He didn't use his full strength just now. Otherwise, he would have killed Xing Chuan and Xing Fei in one move. It turns out that he's not arrogant. He has the strength to do so. I understand now. He didn't get those soul-sealing jade tokens by plotting against others. He got them by himself by killing the zombie guards. He has the strength to do so. Many people around shouted. They couldn't control their emotions and didn't even care if their words would offend the Xing family. It was too shocking. How could this be? Xing Yao's old eyes almost popped out at this moment. His aura spread out uncontrollably. Many people around him stepped back in shock. But he didn't feel it at all. His eyes were fixed on Lu Ming, full of disbelief. 3 kinds of concepts of heaven and earth, all of them, have been cultivated into concept runes, and 2 of them have reached level 1 lower tier. Why? Why? Xing Wushuang seemed to have lost his soul. His eyes were fixed on Lu Ming as he muttered under his breath. He simply could not accept all of this. In the past, he had even mocked Lu Ming for cultivating multiple intents at the same time and that he would never achieve anything. But now, he had only cultivated 1 concept and had yet to condense a concept rune. On the other hand, Lu Ming had cultivated 3 concepts and all of them had condensed concept runes. 2 of them had even reached level 1 lesser success. Compared to Lu Ming, he was simply trash. No, he couldn't even be compared to trash. He was just dung. At this moment, his heart of martial arts collapsed. The aura on his body fluctuated unsteadily, and his eyes became lifeless. During this period of time, Lu Ming had dealt him a series of blows. Now, just a moment ago, this blow had finally reached its peak, shattering his heart of martial arts. Once his heart of martial arts was destroyed, it would be difficult for him to progress in martial arts. In other words, Xing Wushuang would never be able to break through to Martial King Realm. It was ridiculous. Back then, he had said that Lu Ming would never be able to break through to Martial King Realm. But now, the same thing had happened to him. What a piece of trash. Xing Yao shouted coldly when he saw Xing Wushuang's condition. In the fighting ring, Xing Chong, Xing Lang, and the others were also shocked. 1 move. Lu Ming had only used 1 move, but the power contained in that move was too terrifying. It was far beyond the peak of LV6 Martial King Realm. You want to cripple me with such strength? Lu Ming held his long spear, his long hair fluttering in the wind. His aura was wild. Lu Ming, your strength is indeed not bad. How about this, let's call this a draw. Xing Chong shouted as he looked at Lu Ming. There was a trace of fear in his eyes. The Xing family was completely defeated in this battle. But if it ended in a draw, the Xing family's reputation would be better. Everyone looked at Xing Chong with disdain. It was obvious that Xing Chong was afraid. A draw? Ha, do you think you're qualified to fight me to a draw? Lu Ming laughed and walked toward Xing Chong, Xing Lang, and the others with his long spear in hand. Lu Ming, don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Xing Chong roared and couldn't help but step back. Nonsense. Either admit defeat or fight. Lu Ming shouted. Lu Ming, that's enough. Xing Yao shouted coldly. Old man, is it your turn to speak on the Divine Guard battle ring? Lu Ming reprimanded him without turning his head. You, Xing Yao was a Peak King and an elder of Emperor Sky Divine Palace. He had never been scolded by a junior before. He was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Lu Ming didn't stop and walked toward Xing Chong and the others. Damn it, damn it. Let's attack together. Xing Chong roared. He knew that this battle couldn't be avoided. They could only fight. If they didn't even dare to fight and admitted defeat, they wouldn't have become a laughing stock and would have been punished by the Xing family. Kill. Kill. Xing Chong, Xing Lang, and the others roared and unleashed their full strength. A green divine bird flew above Xing Chong's head. The intent of wind spread out and a gale swept out. Above Xing Lang's head was a giant wolf. The giant wolf's body was covered in flames and the intent of fire filled the sky. There were also some 6th and 5th stage Martial King experts. There were 10 of them in total. Kill. 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 10 attacks flew toward Lu Ming from different angles. 10,000 dragons kill. Lu Ming thrust out his spear and dozens of 3-colored true dragons flew out and pounced toward the 10 Xing family heroes. Lu Ming took a step forward and rushed toward Xing Chong and Xing Lang. Shwa! A huge spear radiance, thicker than a water tank, blasted toward the 2 heroes. The 2 heroes were shocked and used their strongest moves to block it, but it was useless. They were hit by the huge spear radiance and their bodies shook violently. They flew backward and spat out blood. They flew for several miles before they staggered and steadied themselves. Below the fighting ring, countless people looked at Lu Ming in shock. At this moment, Lu Ming was like an invincible god of war. He was invincible. A peerless genius. This was the only thought in everyone's mind. Maybe in 3 to 5 years, Lu Ming will be on the list of top 1,000 talents. I think so too. As long as Lu Ming keeps up this momentum, he will be on the list of top 1,000 talents in 3 to 5 years at most. In that case, our Tianxian domain will have 2 geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents. Below the fighting ring, people whispered. Both of you, admit defeat. Lu Ming stared at Xing Chong and Xing Lang. You want us to admit defeat? Impossible. Lu Ming, unless you can knock us out of the fighting ring, we won't admit defeat. Xing Lang shouted. Since you have some backbone, I'll fulfill your wish. Chapter 542. Everyone stared at the fighting ring. They felt that the battle was about to come to an end. Just then, a cold voice came from afar. Lu Ming, how dare you? As soon as the voice fell, a divine light shot from afar. The divine light was too fast. It crossed the void in an instant and shot towards Lu Ming's forehead. Lu Ming's face changed. He felt that the divine light contained terrifying power and killing intent. His body instantly tensed up, and all the hairs on his body stood on end. This was an instinctive reaction. He felt a fatal threat from this divine light. Without any hesitation, he retreated. At the same time, the 9 dragons' bloodline activated and devouring power filled the area. The true essence in his body circulated to the extreme. The 3 wills of heaven and earth merged and surged towards the long spear. True Dragon Strike. He thrust out the spear and the huge tricolor True Dragon flew out and collided with the divine light. Boom! There was a loud explosion. The divine light pierced through the tricolor True Dragon and the 3 wills of heaven and earth on it collapsed. Whoosh! The divine light did not stop and continued to attack Lu Ming. Extreme Dao Strike. At the critical moment, Lu Ming stopped retreating. He became one with the spear and turned into a spear radiance that pierced forward. Boom! The tip of the spear accurately pierced the divine light. In an instant, Lu Ming felt a terrifying power surging towards him along the long spear. Lu Ming felt as if he had been hit by a big hammer. His body slid back along the fighting ring. He slid back for a few miles before coming to a stop. He felt his blood boil and his arm holding the spear tremble slightly. Crack! At this moment, the tip of the demon banishing spear let out a cracking sound, and cracks began to appear on its surface. Then, more and more cracks appeared. Finally, with a bang, the tip of the demon banishing spear exploded into pieces and scattered all over the ground. After withstanding Lu Ming's powerful force and the bombardment of the divine light, the demon-suppressing spear finally could not take it anymore and exploded. However, the divine light was successfully blocked by Lu Ming. Who is it? Lu Ming looked in the direction of the divine light. He wasn't the only one. At this moment, everyone looked in that direction. A slender figure wearing a 7-starred robe with his hands clasped behind his back walked through the air step by step. Everyone's hearts shook violently. Within profound Heaven City, there was a forbidden zone. Ordinary kings simply couldn't walk in the air. Only peak kings could barely walk in the air. This person was very young, about 24 or 25 years old. His eyebrows were like swords, and his eyes were like stars. He was extremely handsome. Starlight filled the air around him, making him look like a god that had descended into the world. Holy star, it's a holy star! Someone roared. It's over. Lu Ming is finished. I didn't expect that even the sacred star would be attracted here. This time, Lu Ming is really finished. Heavens! Xing Xing's cultivation seems to have improved. He can actually walk in the air. Could it be that he has already broken through to the Peak King realm? Many people were shocked. Such a young Peak King was simply too shocking and incredible. No, Xing Xing hasn't broken through to the Peak King realm. He should still be at the peak of the 9th level Martial King realm. However, his strength is too strong. He's no weaker than a Peak King, so he can walk in the air. A white-haired old man explained. Xing Yao was not the only elder present. There were other elders present as well. This white-haired old man was one of them. Oh. I see. That's also amazing. The other sighed. How old was Xing Xing? He was only 25 years old, but he had already reached the peak of the 9th level Martial King realm. Didn't this mean that he had a chance to open his spiritual sea and become a Sea of Soul realm expert before the age of 30? Countless gazes were fixed on the youth in the air. Xing Xing. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly as he stared at Xing Xing. Ever since he came to Profound Heaven City, Lu Ming had heard this name many times. Xing Xing was the #1 genius in Tianxian domain and a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents in Eastern Wilderness. He was the idol of countless young geniuses in Tianxian domain. The other so-called geniuses in Tianxian domain were like candlelight in front of Xing Xing. They couldn't be compared at all. Xing Xing walked in the air and arrived above the Divine Guard battle platform. He looked down at Lu Ming. Stars seemed to twinkle in his eyes. Young Master Xing Chen, Xing Chong, Xing Lang, and the others hurriedly bowed when they saw Lu Ming. They looked nervous as if they were very afraid of Xing Xing. Xing Xing was the chosen successor of the Xing family. In the future, he would definitely be at the helm of the Xing family. It could be said that their fates were under his control. They were naturally afraid of Xing Xing. Xing Xing glanced at them indifferently and said expressionlessly, "All of you, leave and heal yourselves." "Yes, yes." Xing Chong and the others felt as if they had been pardoned. They supported each other and left the battle platform. Then, Xing Xing looked at Lu Ming again. "So you're Lu Ming. You've got guts to injure so many people of my Xing family." Xing Xing said indifferently. No one could tell what emotion he was feeling from his voice. Divine Guard battle platform. "It's just a fair battle," Lu Ming said. "Haha." Xing Xing chuckled and said, "You're not bad. I just happen to be lacking a coachman. You'll report to work as a coachman for 3 years. If you perform well, you'll naturally be promoted." Xing Xing stood in the air with his hands behind his back. Although his voice wasn't loud, it was filled with a commanding tone as if this matter had already been decided. Around them, many people revealed looks of surprise. They never thought that Xing Xing would let Lu Ming go so easily. He even asked Lu Ming to be his coachman. In many people's eyes, being a coachman for the Saint Star was a supreme honor. This was a position that belonged to the Saint Star's trusted aides. Their status would rise along with the tide, and a casual word from them would cause many emperors of great countries to tremble in fear. Moreover, Xing Xing might even be guided by Xing Xing. How honorable was that? In many people's eyes, Xing Xing was not punishing Xing Xing, but rewarding him. It seems that Lu Ming's talent has been valued by Xing Xing. Someone exclaimed. "Damn it." Sheng Wuxuang gritted his teeth. He was jealous of Lu Ming. If this opportunity fell on him, he would wake up laughing in his dreams. Now, this opportunity fell on Lu Ming. "Do you think Lu Ming will agree?" Someone asked in a low voice. "Nonsense, of course he'll agree." "Who is Xing Xing?" "He's a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents. Although Lu Ming's talent is very high, I think he's still far from Xing Xing. It's good enough that he can become Xing Xing's coachman. Yes, if he doesn't agree, Xing Xing will definitely not let him go. In such a situation, he'll definitely agree. Yes, it's not shameful to be Xing Xing's coachman." Many people were speculating curiously. Chapter 543. Xing Xing, right? Lu Ming stared at Xing Xing with a faint smile on his face. At this moment, the scene quieted down. Everyone looked at Lu Ming, waiting to see how he would respond. "Xing Xing, I think you're not bad. My courtyard is lacking a gatekeeper. Pack up and quickly report to me." A clear voice came from Lu Ming's mouth, but it swept through the crowd like a storm. Everyone was stunned. After a long while, a shocking uproar broke out. Lu Ming refused. Not only did he refuse, but he also asked Xing Xing to guard his door. Heavens, he's got guts. This is adding fuel to the fire. It's fine if he refused, but he actually asked Xing Xing to guard his door. Is he qualified? Excited discussions broke out all around. "Lu Ming, how dare you speak to my Xing clan's young master like that? You're courting death. Young master Xing Chen wants you to be his groom because he thinks highly of you. Many people want to know, but you actually dare to speak to him like that. You're simply arrogant, ignorant, and stubborn." Xing Yao scolded loudly from the side. As for Xing Wuxuang, he simply wanted to laugh to death. Just now, he was really afraid that Lu Ming would agree. "You refused?" Xing Xing's face was still calm. No expression could be seen as he asked indifferently. "Nonsense. If others are willing to be your dog, that's their business. But why would I, Lu Ming, do that? In this world, no one can make me his groom, including you, Xing Xing." Lu Ming said loudly. As soon as he said that, it caused a wave of curses. What an ignorant and arrogant son of a bitch. Who does he think he is? He thinks he's number one with a bit of talent. What a joke. He's comparing himself to the sacred star. Who does he think he is? What qualifications does he have to be compared to young Master Xingchen? At this moment, Xing's face finally turned cold. With a wave of his hand, as if there was a huge magical power, the crowd immediately quieted down. I gave you a chance, but you don't know how to cherish it. Since that's the case, I'll cripple you. A cold voice came from Saint Star's mouth. Boom! In the next moment, the starlight on the sacred star burned like a flame, illuminating the entire sky. This is the concept of stars. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. In the world, other than the 9 common concepts of wind, fire, and thunder, there were many other special concepts. However, these special concepts were often extremely difficult to comprehend, but they were often extremely powerful. The concept of stars was such a special concept. Whoosh! 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 In the next moment, the starlight condensed into dozens of long swords that pierced through the air, piercing towards Lu Ming's vitals. Wherever the stars passed, terrifying and shocking sonic booms could be heard. Don't take it head on. Lu Ming's pupils suddenly shrank. The sacred star was too powerful. It wasn't something he could fight against. Retreat. Without hesitation, Lu Ming turned around and used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. He took a step forward and retreated at a frightening speed. You want to escape in front of me? Saint Star shouted as the starlight on his body became even more dazzling. At the same time, starlight sprinkled down from the sky above Lu Ming's head and condensed into a giant hand that pressed down on Lu Ming. This giant hand seemed to have appeared out of thin air above Lu Ming's head. There was no way to avoid it. Block! Lu Ming growled as he activated 2 bloodlines. A lower LV5 long spear appeared in his hand. His true essence circulated crazily as 3 concepts burst out. He stabbed the spear at the star hand. Boom! With a loud boom, Lu Ming's body fell from the sky like a meteorite and heavily smashed into the edge of the fighting ring, coughing up blood. Pung! The lower LV5 long spear in Lu Ming's hand was shattered. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. You're overestimating yourself. It's just a meaningless struggle. Saint Star looked indifferent as he stood in the void with his hands behind his back. He looked down at Lu Ming condescendingly as if he was an emperor who ruled over everything. Saint Star, why are you pretending? Do you really think you're a peerless genius who can look down on everything? You're only ranked 998th on the list of top 1,000 talents. There are many people stronger than you. Why are you so arrogant? Also, how old are you? You're 5 years older than me. What's there to be proud of? If I cultivate for another 5 years, I can suppress you with 1 finger. Lu Ming hollered. He stood upright and stared at the sacred star with bright eyes. Many people's eyes lit up at his words. Indeed, how old was Lu Ming now? It would be an exaggeration to say that he could suppress Saint Star with 1 finger when he was at Saint Star's age. However, it was not impossible for him to reach Saint Star's current level. Everyone had seen Lu Ming's combat strength and talent. Some people felt that Lu Ming had the potential to be ranked on the list of top 1,000 talents. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. On the path of martial arts, you'll be stronger every step you take. You'll never be a match for me. Are you trying to provoke me into letting you go? I'm not interested in that. So, I'll just cripple you first, said Xing coldly. Starlight surged around him as he was about to unleash the next wave of attacks. It seems that I can only use the Thunder Cauldron. With my current cultivation, I can definitely kill Saint Star with 1 blow if I use the Thunder Cauldron. However, I won't be able to fight back. There's no other way now. Lu Ming's eyes flashed viciously. He immediately focused his mind and communicated with the Thunder Cauldron. Lu Ming's glabella flickered with a faint light and traces of lightning power. He could control the thunder cauldron to launch a fatal blow at any time. Stop. Just then, a soft shout was heard. Caw. Then, a bird's cry was heard. Everyone saw that in the sky, a large green condor was flying towards them at an extremely fast speed. There were two figures standing on the eagle's back. Mu Xiuyuan and senior sister Mulan's. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The two people on the eagle's back were Mulan's and Mu Xiuyuan. That's Miss Mulan's. What's Miss Mulan's doing here? Many people were curious. Saint Star's eyes flickered slightly. The starlight on his body also calmed down and he stopped attacking. Caw! The eagle cried. The next moment, the eagle appeared above the Divine Guard battle platform. Mulan's and Mu Xiuyuan jumped down from the eagle's back and appeared on the Divine Guard battle platform. Lu Ming, are you alright? Mulan's immediately walked toward Lu Ming with concern in her eyes. It's just a small injury. I'm fine. Senior sister Mulan's, we haven't seen each other in a long time. Lu Ming smiled. He hadn't seen Mulan's for more than a year. Mulan's had become more mature and charming. Her curves were even more stunning. One look at her and one would have an irresistible impulse. Countless pairs of fiery eyes stared at Mulan from all directions. It's been a long time indeed. Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to reach this stage. You didn't disappoint me. Mulan's revealed a faint smile. Move aside. This kid has injured many of my Saint family's elites. Let me cripple this kid first. Chapter 544. As soon as Mulan's arrived, she was talking and laughing with Lu Ming as if there was no one around. This made his killing intent soar. Sacred Star, let him go. Let go of Lu Ming. Only then did Mulan turn around and look at the Sacred Star. What did you say? Sacred Star's face darkened and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Sacred Star, I'm here today. Don't even think about hurting a single hair of his. Mulan said. Mulan's. Sacred Star's eyes were filled with killing intent like a storm. Mulan was his fiancée in the Sacred Star Palace. Yet, she was protecting another man in front of everyone. How could he still have any face left? At this moment, Sacred Star's killing intent towards Lu Ming did not decrease. Instead, it increased. I only wanted to cripple him, but now, he must die. Sacred Star's cold and emotionless voice came out from his mouth. How dare you? Mulan stood in front of Lu Ming. At this moment, the spectators looked at each other. Some of them were smart enough to figure out what was going on. Strange expressions appeared on their faces. Mulan's, do you think you can stop me? Get out of my way. Sacred Star waved his hand and starlight burst out. It was like ribbons of light that wrapped around Mulan's and Mu Xiuyuan. Boom! Boom! Mulan's and Mu Xiuyuan unleashed their powerful auras. After not seeing each other for a while, Mulan's had reached the Martial King realm and Mu Xiuyuan's cultivation had reached the peak of LV6 Martial King realm. However, it was all in vain. Under the starlight of Sacred Star, they could not resist at all. The starlight wrapped around them and pulled them to Sacred Star's side. Senior Mulan's. Lu Ming shouted. Lu Ming. Mulan's also shouted. Lu Ming, let's see who can save you now. Die. The Saint Star was filled with cold killing intent. Before this, he still felt that Lu Ming's talent was not bad and wanted to recruit him for his own use. But now, he had already made up his mind to kill Lu Ming. Boom! Cold killing intent and a powerful aura erupted from Xing Xing's body. Xing Xing clenched his fist, and a starry battle sword appeared in his hand. It's still not certain who will live and who will die on the Sacred Star. Lu Ming's gaze was also incomparably cold as he stared at the Sacred Star. Wisps of lightning swam between his eyebrows. With just you? Xing Xing sneered disdainfully. He took a step forward and the Divine Guard battle platform rumbled. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly, and the ruthlessness in them intensified. He knew that even if he could use the lightning cauldron to kill Xing Xingchen, he wouldn't be able to survive. The other members of the sacred clan wouldn't let him off, and the secret of the lightning cauldron would be exposed. But now, he had no other choice. Stop. Xing Xing, I promise you that as long as you let Lu Ming go, I will marry you in a year. Mulan's shouted at this moment. The sacred star's figure came to a halt. He then turned around and looked at Mulan's. It seems like this kid is really important in your heart. You don't have to worry about this. I promise to marry you in a year as long as you let Lu Ming go. If you kill him, I would rather die than marry you. Mulan said. Senior Sister Mulan's, you can't. Lu Ming shouted. However, Mulan ignored Lu Ming and continued to stare at the sacred star. Alright, I promise you. But not in a year's time, but in half a year's time. You and I will get married in half a year's time and I will let this kid go. Xing Xing said coldly. Half a year? Mulan's gritted her teeth, glanced at Lu Ming, and said, Alright, I promise you. Seeing Mulan's agree, Xing Xing waved his hand and the light of the stars around Mulan's and Mu Shuyuan dissipated. The two of them regained their freedom. As soon as the two of them regained their freedom, they walked towards Lu Ming. Senior Sister Mulan's, why did you agree to his request? He may not be able to kill me. Lu Ming said, full of unwillingness. Mulan smiled slightly, thinking that Lu Ming was saying it out of anger. She didn't care and said, Lu Ming, we are engaged after all. Perhaps this is fate. I always want to escape, but in the end, I can't escape. A long sigh sounded softly. Kiki, Lu Ming clenched his fists so hard that they made cracking sounds. He knew that Mulan's was doing this because of him. Otherwise, with Mulan's character, she would never agree to it. Lu Ming, since Lan has pleaded for you today, I will spare your life. Xing Xing said coldly. Immediately after, he revealed a contemptuous look and continued, Lu Ming, a person like you, who can only hide behind a woman, is not worthy of being mentioned in the same breath as me. After saying that, he smiled contemptuously and turned around to leave. At this moment, Lu Ming's voice sounded. Xing Xing, since this is the case, do you dare to accept my challenge? Hua. Lu Ming's voice was like a storm, sweeping across the entire place. Many people were dumbfounded. What? What did I just hear? Lu Ming wants to challenge Xing Xing. He has guts, he's courting death. Arrogant and conceited, this is arrogant and conceited. The entire place burst into an uproar. In Tianxian domain, no one from the younger generation dared to challenge Xing Xing for a few years. You want to challenge me? Xing Xing turned around and asked. Even he was a little surprised. That's right, Xing Xing, half a year later, you and I will fight. Do you dare? Lu Ming said loudly. Half a year later? A cold smile appeared on the corners of Xing Xing's mouth. He glanced at Mulan and said, could it be that you think you can catch up to me in half a year? Fight with me? You don't have to worry about this. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming, no, you don't have to do this for me, Mulan said anxiously. She knew that the reason why Lu Ming chose to challenge Xing Xing in half a year must have something to do with her. However, with Lu Ming's cultivation, it was impossible for him to be Xing Xing's opponent in half a year's time. Lu Ming could fight those above his level, so could Xing Xing. If Lu Ming could improve, so could Xing Xing. It was almost impossible to catch up to the Saint Star in just half a year. It wasn't that she didn't have confidence in Lu Ming. She was very confident in Lu Ming. She believed that Lu Ming would be able to catch up with Xing Xing in a few years. However, half a year was too short. Lu Ming waved his hand and interrupted Mulan's. Senior Sister Mulan's, this battle is imperative. Even if it's not for you, I will still pay for today's humiliation. Lu Ming's voice was firm and unquestionable. Xing Xing, say it. Do you dare? Lu Ming looked at Xing Xing intently. All right, I promise you. I will let you know what despair is in half a year's time. You will never be able to catch up with me. Xing Xing's voice was full of confidence. The scene was in an uproar. Xing Xing actually agreed to Lu Ming's challenge. The two would fight in half a year's time. Moreover, this battle would be very interesting. If Xing Xing was defeated, his wedding with Mulan's would definitely be affected or even cancelled. If Lu Ming was defeated, Xing Xing could use the momentum of victory to marry Mulan's. Chapter 545. Do you think Lu Ming has any hope in half a year? How is that possible? The sacred star will probably become a peak king in half a year. How can Lu Ming have any hope? There's no hope at all. I think so too, but I'm still looking forward to it. Me too. We can't miss it in half a year. Around them, everyone was discussing excitedly. The sacred star didn't say anything else. He turned around and left, disappearing into the horizon in the blink of an eye. This Lu Ming. He has escaped a calamity again. Sheng Wushuang clenched his teeth. So what if he escaped? He's still going to die in half a year. We'll just let him live for another half a year. Xing Yao snorted. But, Sheng Wushuang still had some worry in his eyes. Lu Ming was just too monstrous. Every time he saw Lu Ming's cultivation would increase explosively. Sheng Wushuang was already a little afraid. He was afraid that the next time they met, Lu Ming would have reached an unknown level. Even if Lu Ming has some talent, do you really think he can catch up to the sacred star young lord in half a year? There's no chance at all. Xing Yao said. Not bad, not bad. Sheng Wushuang kept comforting himself, but he was still very nervous inside. After that, the crowd slowly dispersed. However, the news of Lu Ming challenging the sacred star in half a year's time, as well as the news of Sheng Wushuang marrying Mulan in half a year's time, spread like wildfire. It caused an earthquake. On the Divine Guard battle platform. Lu Ming, you shouldn't have challenged the sacred star young lord. Mulan's looked at Lu Ming with some blame. However, she didn't know why, but she was a little happy. She knew that Lu Ming had challenged Sheng Wushuang mostly because of her. Senior sister Mulan's, don't you have so little confidence in me? Don't worry, in half a year, I'll definitely beat Sheng Wushuang until he's half paralyzed and can't marry you. Lu Ming said with a smile. You're still so confident. Mulan rolled her eyes at Lu Ming, revealing a smile at the corners of her lips. Hey, senior sister Mulan's, why don't you want to marry the sacred star young lord? Although this guy has an arrogant expression that makes people unhappy, to be honest, he still has some ability and looks good. Wait, don't tell me you don't want to marry him because you like me? Lu Ming smiled at Mulan's. Like you? Stop dreaming. Mulan pouted coquettishly. Her face was a little red, and she looked incomparably charming. Then, she sighed and said, who would want their fate to be determined by someone else since they were young? Besides, it's hard to say when it comes to feelings. Although Xing Xingchen is a genius, he doesn't have any feelings for him. Lu Ming had a spurious smile. Cough cough. At this time, Mu Xiuyuan coughed a few times and said, shouldn't we leave this place now? Yes, let's go. Mulan's face was red as she said hurriedly. Lu Ming's gaze and smile were too much for her to handle. Immediately after, Mulan gestured for the giant eagle in the sky to leave on its own. She, Lu Ming, and Mu Xiuyuan walked down from the fighting ring and walked toward a street. Lu Ming, where are you staying now? Mulan's asked. I'm staying in a house in the city. Lu Ming said. Oh, how about this, you can move to the 4th district. You can cultivate faster in the 4th district. I'll arrange a courtyard for you, Mulan said. Mulan's father was the palace master of the Tianxian branch. He had the authority to arrange a courtyard in the 4th district. Then, the three of them walked toward the 4th district. The 4th district was blocked by a city wall. There were experts guarding the city gate. Ordinary people were not allowed to trespass or they would be killed without mercy. However, Lu Ming had Mulan's and Mu Xiuyuan to lead the way. Naturally, he entered the 4th district without any obstacles. What a strong spiritual qi of heaven and earth. What a strong realm of heaven and earth. As soon as they entered the 4th district, Lu Ming exclaimed repeatedly. He realized that the spiritual qi of heaven and earth here was extremely dense, as if it was about to materialize. The realm of heaven and earth was even stronger than the Tao Enlightenment Palace in the east. It was hard for one's cultivation not to improve if they stayed here for a long time. No wonder the younger generation of the Shing family had so many experts and martial king experts. In such an environment, even a pig would be able to cultivate to a decent level. Mulan's and Mu Xiuyuan led Lu Ming to the depths of the 4th district. Soon, they arrived in front of a courtyard. Miss Mulan's. At the entrance of the courtyard, an old man bowed to Mulan's. Well, Elder Qian, Lu Ming will stay in this courtyard from now on. Mulan's pointed at Lu Ming. Elder Qian looked at Lu Ming with a trace of surprise in his eyes. He then nodded and said, yes. Lu Ming, let's go in and take a look at the environment. Mulan smiled. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. The three of them walked into the courtyard. In terms of size, this courtyard was not as big as the East Sky Courtyard in the east. This was normal. This was the 4th district of Tianxian City. Its value was terrifyingly high. The area was naturally not big. However, the layout was very elegant. It was very suitable for cultivation, comprehension of realm, and martial techniques. Lu Ming was very satisfied. The three of them walked around and returned to the courtyard. Lu Ming, this token is for you. With this token, you can freely enter and exit the 4th district. Mulan's took out a purple token and handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming received it and kept it. Senior Sister Mulan's, I wonder if there are any inscription masters in Tianxian City. I would like to ask an inscription master to refine a spear for me. Lu Ming asked. Previously, the tip of the demon vanquishing spear was already broken. As for ordinary level 5 inferior grade long spears, Lu Ming had 2 of them. They were obtained from others. However, level 5 inferior grade spears were not of much use. Of course there are inscription masters in Tianxian City. Moreover, there are more than one. What grade spirit spear do you want to refine? Mulan's asked. It's best if it's grade 6. Lu Ming said. Grade 6. Mulan's and Mu Xiuyuan were both shocked. Grade 6 spirit weapon was a spirit weapon specially used by Sea of Soul Realm experts. Its power was extremely frightening. However, the materials required were also terrifyingly expensive. Lu Ming actually wanted to refine a grade 6 spear? Lu Ming nodded. His cultivation progress was very fast. Moreover, his Zhen Yuan was too abundant. It was 10 times more than ordinary people. Moreover, the martial techniques he cultivated were extremely tyrannical. The requirements for spirit weapons were extremely high. Ordinary spirit weapons simply could not bear his explosive power. The demon vanquishing spear's material was already very good. However, it still could not bear it. Only a grade 6 spirit weapon would be enough for Lu Ming to use for a period of time. Lu Ming, the price of refining a grade 6 spirit weapon is terrifyingly high. I don't have that many spirit crystals on me. Chapter 546. Senior Sister Mulan's, you don't have to worry about this. I'll take care of it. Lu Ming smiled. He had nearly 9 million spirit crystals on him. He believed that it was enough to refine a grade 6 spirit weapon. Mu Xiuyuan and Mulan's were extremely astonished. Lu Ming could even afford a grade 6 spirit weapon? It seemed like they'd still underestimated Lu Ming. Alright then. There's a grade 6 inscription master in Profound Sky City, and he's a good friend of my father. However, he's not free these 2 days. How about this? I'll come look for you in 3 days and take you to see that inscription master. Mulan said. Alright, alright. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He hadn't expected that there would really be a grade 6 inscription master in Profound Sky City. Grade 6 inscription masters were extremely rare. Their status was extremely high and respected, and they were even more respected than ordinary Sea of Soul Realm experts. Sea of Soul Realm experts were extremely rare in the entire Profound Sky region. Every single one of them was a figure that could dominate Profound Sky region. The 3 realms of spiritual god were respectively Sea of Soul Realm, Spiritual Embryo Realm, and Spiritual God Realm. Every realm was incomparably profound. At the same time, the power they grasped was incomparably terrifying. It simply had the ability to destroy the heavens and earth. It was absolutely not something that Martial King Realm experts could compare to. After the Domain Enlightened Spirit God Realm was the Martial Monarch Realm. The peak of the Spiritual God Realm was also called Supremacy. Supremacy 9 Suns was the peak of the Spiritual God Realm, and was only a step away from the Martial Emperor Realm. Of course, that realm was extremely far away from Lu Ming. Now wasn't the time to think about this. Next, Lu Ming chatted with Mulan's and Mu Xiuyuan for a while. Lu Ming, heal your injuries first. Mulan's instructed with some concern. Then, she left with Mu Xiuyuan. After Mulan's and Mu Xiuyuan left, Lu Ming sat down cross-legged and circulated his qi to heal his injuries. Previously, Lu Ming had taken 2 of the Sacred Star's attacks head-on, causing him to suffer heavy injuries. He also knew that the Sacred Star hadn't used much strength in those 2 moves. Otherwise, Lu Ming definitely wouldn't have been able to withstand them. 3 hours later, Lu Ming's injuries were much better. He believed that he would be completely healed in less than a day. Half a year. If we want to catch up to the Sacred Star in half a year, we need more resources. The most important thing is the will of the heavens and earth. As long as the will of the heavens and earth increases, as long as I have supreme grade spiritual crystals, my cultivation will continue to increase. Lu Ming pondered. Lu Ming now had the Enlightenment Ancient Tree and comprehended the concept of heaven and earth extremely quickly. However, Lu Ming was not satisfied. At this speed, there was no way they would be able to catch up to the Sacred Star in half a year. Profound crystals. If I have a large amount of profound crystals and the Enlightenment Ancient Tree, I'll be able to comprehend the will of heaven and earth much faster. Only then will I be able to catch up to the Saint Star. Lu Ming pondered. To be honest, Lu Ming was also under a lot of pressure. The main thing was that the time was too short, only half a year. Half a year later, I must defeat the Sacred Star. If I can't defeat the Sacred Star, how can I fight against Martial Emperor De in the future? Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly, his gaze firm. Immediately, Lu Ming took out the Enlightenment Ancient Tree and placed it beside him. Then, he took out a Fire Profound Crystal. He planned to improve his will of fire first. Now, Lu Ming's will of fire had reached the early stage of level 1 lesser success, which was only slightly weaker than the will of thunder. However, Lu Ming had 320 fire attribute profundity crystals in his hands. He could comprehend the fire concept the fastest. Crack. Lu Ming exerted his strength and crushed the fire attribute profound meaning crystal. Threads of concept permeated the surroundings of Lu Ming. Lu Ming closed his eyes and started to comprehend the will of fire. Originally, the will of heaven and earth in this area was a little stronger than in the Enlightenment Ancient Tree and the profound crystals. Lu Ming's comprehension of the will of fire had reached a terrifying speed. His comprehension of the will of fire had increased crazily. Crack. Crack. Lu Ming crushed another piece of fire attribute profound meaning crystal after he had used it up. one after another. After a day, Lu Ming had consumed 20 fire-profound crystals. Lu Ming's will of fire had a breakthrough, reaching the middle stage of level 1 lesser success, catching up with the will of thunder. Fast, too fast. 1 day's time was equivalent to a year's time for others, or even longer. At this time, Lu Ming's injuries had already healed. Continue. Lu Ming continued to take out fire-profound crystals and crush them, continuing to comprehend the will of fire. In the blink of an eye, the 3-day time limit with Mulan's had arrived. In less than 3 days, Lu Ming had consumed a total of 60 fire attribute profundity crystals. Lu Ming's comprehension of the will of fire had reached the peak of the middle stage of level 1 lesser success, almost reaching the late stage of level 1 lesser success. The comprehension of the will of fire was more difficult as one progressed. As long as his will of fire reached the late stage of level 1 lesser success, Lu Ming's cultivation could be improved again, reaching the 5th level of Martial King realm. If the will of fire did not improve, it would be difficult to improve one's cultivation. On this day, Mulan's arrived at Lu Ming's courtyard on time. Lu Ming, let's go. I'll take you to see the inscription master. Mulan said. Okay. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and he was looking forward to it. Mulan's led Lu Ming into the depths of the city. There were very few pedestrians on the streets of the 4th area. Presumably, if he wasn't training outside, he was working hard in closed-door cultivation. Lu Ming followed Mulan's, turning left and right, and came to a shabby stone house. Is this the residence of the inscription master? Lu Ming was surprised. Yes, this inscription master has a strange temper, but he is good friends with my father. He should agree to help you, right? Mulan said. However, from her tone, she didn't sound very confident. Lu Ming could not help but touch his nose. The two walked into the stone house. There was a small courtyard inside, but there were all kinds of scrap metal piled up in the courtyard like garbage. Uncle Huang, Mulan's called out in a low voice. Who is it? You're disturbing my dream again. Suddenly, an aged voice sounded in the courtyard. Lu Ming was shocked. The voice seemed to be ringing in Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming hurriedly turned around, but he did not see a shadow. Lu Ming sensed carefully, but there was no aura at all. Uncle Huang, it's me, Mulan's. I have something to ask you for help today. Mulan said softly, looking around with her beautiful eyes. So it's little Lan. Okay, I admit defeat. Tell me, what do you want from me? The old voice sounded again. Uncle Huang, I want to ask you to help me refine a level 6 spiritual weapon spear. Mulan said. Level 6 spiritual weapon spear? This little girl really dares to ask. You want to refine it for this young man, right? Well, have you brought the spiritual crystals? Have you brought the materials? The old voice sounded. Senior. Lu Ming cupped his fists in the air and said, I have the spiritual crystals, but I don't have the materials to refine a level 6 spiritual weapon. You don't have the materials to refine a level 6 spiritual weapon? Well, I'll exchange them with spiritual crystals. I'll pay the materials for you, a total of 5 million spiritual crystals. The old voice sounded. 5 million spiritual crystals. Mulan's widened her eyes in shock. Uncle Huang, 5 million supreme grade spiritual crystals is too expensive. On the market, a LV6 spiritual weapon is only a few 100,000 supreme grade spiritual crystals. Chapter 547. Indeed, a level 6 spirit weapon was many times more expensive than a level 5 spirit weapon used by kings. But to say that one needed 5 million spirit crystals was a bit frightening. It was completely exorbitant. Clang. Clang. This old man's hair and beard were a mess. It was unknown how long it had been since he last cleaned it, as it was covered in dirt. Lu Ming was stunned. This old man had actually been sleeping in the pile of scrap. This was the level 6 inscription master. Little girl, don't compare those pieces of scrap metal with the spiritual weapons that I have personally refined. Moreover, those LV6 spiritual weapons that are worth hundreds of thousands of pieces of supreme-grade spiritual crystals are all lower LV6 or middle LV6. What's the use of them? Those that I have refined are definitely at the peak of LV6. Do you understand? The moment the old man appeared, he ran in front of Mulan's and yelled. Uncle Huang, 5 million supreme spiritual crystals is too expensive. Mulan said. 5 million spirit crystals was something that even peak kings might not be able to take out, not to mention them. Even Sea of Soul Realm experts would feel the pinch. If you don't have spirit crystals, then forget it. I don't do business that loses money. The old man waved his hand. As long as the spirit weapon's quality is good, spirit crystals are not a problem. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke. Ah. Mulans looked at Lu Ming in astonishment. Could Lu Ming even take out 5 million spirit crystals? The old man also looked at Lu Ming in astonishment. If you have spirit crystals, then it's easy. Tell me, what requirements do you have for the spirit weapon long spear? The old man asked. Every martial artist had different requirements for their spirit weapons according to the martial techniques they cultivated. Some people liked nimble ones, while others liked heavy ones. Hardness. First, whether it's the spear shaft or the spear tip, it needs to be absolutely tough and able to withstand an intense explosion. Also, the spear shaft needs to be tough, and flexible. Lastly, the heavier the better. Lu Ming pondered for a moment before replying. Little fellow, you sure have a lot of requests. The old man grinned and went into deep thought. After a long while, the old man said, there are very few people who use spears. I don't have many materials that are suitable for making spears. And I do have a piece of steel that is not bad. It is suitable for making the spear tip, but what about the spear shaft? We do have ordinary materials, but we don't have anything that meets your requirements. The old man frowned and muttered. Little guy, think about it. Since you use a spear, you should have collected some materials. Think about it, do you have any suitable materials to refine a spear? If you do, I will charge less spirit crystals. The old man said. Myself? Lu Ming was also racking his brains, but he really didn't have any suitable ones. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. With a move of his hand, a broken spear appeared. This broken spear only had half of it. The other half of the spear was missing. It was the broken spear that was shot out from the heavenly gate. This broken spear didn't have any spirituality, but its material was indeed very tough. Lu Ming didn't know what material it was made of. Maybe it could be useful. Senior, look at this broken spear, whoosh. Before Lu Ming could finish his words, a figure flashed and the broken spear in his hand disappeared and appeared in the old man's hand. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. The old man's cultivation was unfathomable. He didn't even see how the old man made his move. He saw the old man staring at the broken spear. His originally turbid eyes were now as bright as two light bulbs, blazing with passion. The old man gently stroked the spear shaft with both hands. As the old man's palms moved, strange runes appeared on the spear shaft. This is a refining method from the ancient era. There are inscriptions from the ancient era in it. It's a priceless treasure, ha ha ha. The old man suddenly laughed hysterically. Lu Ming and Mulans looked at each other. It was just a broken spear. What value did it have? Why did the old man say it was a priceless treasure? Little guy, where did you get this broken spear from? The old man asked. I got it by accident in an ancient battlefield. Lu Ming lied. Yes, this broken spear has a long history. Although it has lost its spirituality and only half of it is left, it's a waste in your hands. But in my hands, it's a priceless treasure. The old man laughed. Seeing Lu Ming and Mulans's puzzled faces, the old man explained. The remnant inscriptions on this spear are ancient inscriptions that have been lost for a long time. They are extremely useful to me. After I study them, I might be able to reach a higher level in the art of refining. Just this point alone makes this a priceless treasure. Little guy, give this spear to me. I'll do my best to refine a spear for you. I won't take a single cent. How about it? The old man looked at Lu Ming. Okay. Lu Ming agreed without hesitation. Anyway, this spear was useless in his hands. If he gave it to the old man, he could save 5 million supreme-grade spirit crystals. Lu Ming was willing to give it up. Ha ha ha. Seeing that Lu Ming had agreed, the elder was very happy. He smiled and said, "Young lad, I won't let you suffer a loss. This half of the long spear contains a rare and strange metal called the infinite black gold. If you use this metal to forge the spirit weapon, it will have infinite potential. In the future, as long as you continue to condense and smelt other metals into it, this spirit weapon will be able to evolve and upgrade continuously." What? It can continue to evolve and upgrade? Lu Ming and Mulans were dumbfounded and shocked. There was actually such a magical metal. Lu Ming's eyes were glowing and burning with passion. That's right. In ancient times, there was quite a bit of infinite black gold. But now, there is less and less infinite black gold. It is a great fortune for you to be able to obtain some. Wait for me to study the inscriptions on it, then I will smelt this infinite black gold into your spirit weapon long spear. The old man said. Thank you, senior. Lu Ming bowed and cupped his fists. Ha ha ha, there's no need to thank me. I should be the one thanking you. However, with such a good material, the other materials can't be lacking. Otherwise, it would be a waste. Now, the key is the material of the spear shaft. The old man frowned. After a while, the old man's eyes lit up. I got it. For the spear shaft, it's most suitable to use 1,000 refined blood gold. 1,000 refined blood gold? Lu Ming was puzzled. That's right. 1,000 refined blood gold is an extremely precious metal. It has to be refined 1,000 times, and every time, it has to be added with the blood of demonic beasts. Only after 1,000 times can it be refined. However, I don't have any 1,000 refined blood gold, so I'll need you to make a trip. The old man said. Where can I get this 1,000 refined blood gold? Chapter 548. In the Tianxian region, only the weapon forging sect in the north has it. Coincidentally, I once helped the weapon forging sect master. As long as you go to the weapon forging sect and say that I asked you to go, the weapon forging sect master will definitely give you a piece of 1,000 refined blood gold. The old man explained. Oh. So it's in the weapon forging sect? Mulans nodded. Alright, I'll make a trip there now. Lu Ming nodded. Little guy, take this pagoda. It's my keepsake. My name is Huang Pagoda. You can call me Elder Huang in the future. The old man took out a fist-sized pagoda and threw it to Lu Ming. Yes, Elder Huang. After Lu Ming put it away, his gaze flickered and he said, Elder Huang, I still have something that I need your help with. What is it? Speak. As long as I can do it, I'll definitely help. Elder Huang smiled. He was in a good mood after obtaining the broken spear. In his eyes, Lu Ming was simply adorable. A long sword appeared in Lu Ming's hand. It was an ordinary long sword, a rank 2 spiritual weapon. It was the heavenly star sword that his father had left for him. Lu Yuntian had said that the heavenly star sword contained the secret of the martial emperor's treasure. However, there were inscriptions on the heavenly star sword. If one forcefully broke the heavenly star sword, the secret would vanish. First, one had to decipher the inscriptions to open the heavenly star sword. In the past, Lu Ming had never found an inscriber to open the heavenly star sword because he felt that his cultivation was too weak. The martial emperor's treasure was left behind by the martial emperor. Without cultivation, even if the martial emperor's treasure was placed in front of him, he wouldn't be able to obtain it. With his previous cultivation, if he really entered the martial emperor's treasure, even the slightest danger would be enough to take his life. Lu Ming's mind was clear. He wouldn't go looking for the martial emperor's treasure as soon as he heard about it. But now, he had an idea. Even if he didn't go there now, he would first take a look at the martial emperor's treasure's secret and its general location. Elder Huang, there's something hidden in the sword. However, the sword is protected by inscriptions. I would like to ask Elder Huang to break the inscriptions. Lu Ming said. Oh, that's easy. Elder Huang took the Heavenly Star Sword and looked at it. This is only a low-level inscription. It's easy. Immediately after, Old Huang's palms glowed. Inscriptions appeared on his palms and he swiped them across the Celestial Star Sword. The inscriptions on the Celestial Star Sword appeared one after another and then collapsed. Alright, the inscription has been broken. Take it. Elder Huang returned the Heavenly Star Sword to Lu Ming. As for what was hidden in the Heavenly Star Sword, Elder Huang had no interest in knowing. When Lu Ming received the Heavenly Star Sword, he sighed inwardly. The methods of a 6th-rank inscription master were truly profound. Elder Huang, this junior would like to purchase a level 5 spear. Do you have it? Lu Ming didn't have any spears that were of great use at the moment. Before he could refine a level 6 spear, he could only purchase a level 5 spear for now. I do have a few level 5 spears. A dark purple spear appeared in Elder Huang's hand. This Thunder Wind spear can be considered the best among level 5 spiritual weapons. Take it. Consider it a gift from me. Elder Huang tossed the spear to Lu Ming. Thunder Wind spear. Lu Ming caught it and shook it slightly. Buzz. The spear shook and the space trembled slightly. Not bad. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. This Thunder Wind spear was much better than the demon suppressing spear. It was enough for now. Lu Ming put it away and expressed his gratitude to Elder Huang. Go. Bring back the 1,000 refined blood gold as soon as possible. I'll help you forge a spear as soon as possible. Old Huang waved his hand and said. His eyes were once again fixed on the broken spear. Lu Ming and Mulans left Elder Huang's stone house. Lu Ming, the weapon forging sect is extremely far from the Profound Heaven City. It's in the north of the Profound Heaven region. I heard that the battle between the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace is the most intense there. You have to be careful. Mulans warned. She was a little worried. Senior Sister Mulans, don't worry. I'm only going to get the 1,000 refined blood gold. I won't participate in the battle. Don't worry. Lu Ming smiled. Oh, then when do you plan to set off? Mulans asked. Half a month later. Lu Ming replied. Since Elder Huang had to comprehend the inscriptions on the broken spear, he wouldn't be able to refine the infinite black gold so quickly. Lu Ming had the Thunder Wind spear to use now, so he wasn't in a hurry. Lu Ming planned to cultivate in the Profound Heaven City for a period of time and refine the remaining fire profound crystals before heading to the weapon forging sect. That's good too. Mulans nodded. The two chatted as they walked. After a while, Mulans bid farewell to Lu Ming and returned. Lu Ming returned to the courtyard alone. The first thing he did was to take out the Heavenly Star Sword. Powerful True Yuan poured into the surface of the Heavenly Star Sword. Lu Ming sensed that the center of the Heavenly Star Sword was indeed hollow. Clang! His True Yuan shook violently. Now that Lu Ming's True Yuan was so powerful, the Heavenly Star Sword couldn't withstand it at all. It cracked and shattered into pieces with a bang. Something was revealed from the Heavenly Star Sword. This is, seeing the thing inside the Heavenly Star Sword, Lu Ming's pupils shrank in shock. The thing inside the Heavenly Star Sword was actually a small jade sword. It was the size of a finger and was sparkling and translucent. More importantly, Lu Ming had seen this kind of jade sword before. Back in the Blazing Sun Empire, Xian Yanqing had obtained a jade sword in the Dongyi tribe's ruins. It was exactly the same as the one before him. At that time, Lu Ming had said that he wanted to use a king's storage ring to exchange for it, but Xian Yanqing had refused. The jade sword that Xian Yanqing had obtained was exactly the same as the one before him. Just what was the relationship between the two jade swords? Could it be that the jade sword that Xian Yanqing had obtained was also related to the martial monarch's treasure? Lu Ming frowned as he pondered. How do I use this jade sword? Lu Ming fiddled with it for a while. Then, he carefully poured his true yuan into the jade sword. Buzz! The jade sword trembled slightly. Then, inscriptions appeared on the surface of the sword. The inscriptions glowed, and a picture appeared in the air. To be more precise, it was a map with densely packed routes marked on it. There was also a line of words beside the map. Lu Ming came to a realization after reading it. This was indeed a map, and this jade sword was the key to the martial monarch's treasure. Most importantly, there were a total of 9 keys to the martial monarch's treasure. The martial monarch's treasure could only be opened and all 9 keys were gathered. 9 keys? Lu Ming let out a wry smile. It seems like Xian Yanqing's jade sword is most likely the key to the martial monarch's treasure. But where are the other keys? Have they fallen into someone else's hands? How can I gather them? Lu Ming kept thinking. He had no idea how long it would take to reach the martial monarch's treasure. Forget it, with my current cultivation, it would be very dangerous to enter the martial monarch's treasure. I should wait and see. Cultivation is the most important thing now. Having this thought, Lu Ming carefully put away the jade sword and adjusted his state of mind. He then began to cultivate diligently. He continued to comprehend the fire intent with the fire esoteric crystal. Chapter 549. Half a month later, Lu Ming had refined all the remaining fire profound crystals. Lu Ming's fire essence had reached the peak of level 1 lesser success. The next step would be level 1 greater success. Level 1 lesser success of fire essence. Does that mean I can reach the peak of LV6 Martial King realm now? Lu Ming's eyes sparkled with anticipation. If his cultivation reached the peak of LV6 Martial King realm, Lu Ming was confident that he could fight a King realm expert. Even a King realm expert of LV7 Martial King realm would be no match for him. Thinking of this, Lu Ming immediately took out a large amount of supreme spiritual crystals. He planned to improve his cultivation first before going to the forging sect. Bang! 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 A total of 50,000 supreme-grade spiritual crystals exploded. The 9 dragons' bloodline roared and devoured all the energy of the crystals. Then, he began to refine them like crazy. However, after an hour, Lu Ming opened his eyes and stopped cultivating. His eyes were full of confusion. What's going on? Why is 90% of the energy in the crystals gone? Why can't I absorb it? Why is my cultivation increasing so slowly? Lu Ming frowned. When he was cultivating, he found that most of the energy from the crystals could not be absorbed by him and turned into genuine qi. Instead, it flowed out of his body and dissipated. Most of the 50,000 supreme spiritual crystals were wasted. Lu Ming had never encountered such a situation before. Essence, wind essence. When I was cultivating, the fire and thunder essences were too strong, and the wind essence was too weak. A huge gap was formed, which led to the loss of energy. Lu Ming kept thinking in his mind and finally came to this conclusion. But before, my thunder essence was the best, and the other 2 essences had not condensed any essence runes. Why didn't this happen? What's going on? Is it because the other 2 essences had not condensed any essence runes, so it was fine? But once they all condensed essence runes, this would happen? Yes, it must be so. Thinking of this, Lu Ming shook his head and smiled bitterly. The drawbacks of cultivating so many concepts were finally beginning to show. When all the intents condensed into intent runes, all the intents had to be roughly balanced in order to increase one's cultivation. If many intents lost their balance, it would be very difficult to increase one's cultivation. Now, the concept of fire was much stronger than the concept of wind. It had exceeded a level. It was no wonder that others said that cultivating several states at the same time would become increasingly difficult. This didn't just mean that there would be a huge resistance when condensing concept runes. That was only one of the reasons. But when multiple intents were condensed into intent runes, an even greater drawback appeared. He had to cultivate many different intents at the same time and maintain a balance in order to increase his cultivation. If you gave up on all the other intents and only cultivated one type of intent after condensing all the intent runes, then even if you cultivated that intent to a high level, it would be very difficult for your cultivation to increase. If someone wanted to raise a concept first, then raise their cultivation, and then turn around to raise other concepts, it would not work. This was equivalent to stepping onto a path of no return. Once he stepped onto it, he would have to walk to the end. However, a person's energy was extremely limited. Their lifespan was also limited. One had to maintain multiple intents at the same time in order to increase one's cultivation. This speed was too slow. There were such people in history who cultivated multiple intents at the same time. But in the end, because they had to comprehend every single intent, their cultivation speed was extremely slow. In the end, their lifespan was exhausted and they turned into dust. Some people were even peerless geniuses. If they cultivated only one intent, their achievements would be limitless. But in the end, their ambitions were too great and they died on this path. There were too few people who could complete this path. They were all rare geniuses. Next, if I had known, I wouldn't have cultivated the concept of fire to such a high level. Lu Ming was somewhat speechless. However, Lu Ming wasn't too worried. He had the Enlightenment Ancient Tree. Even if he cultivated 3 intents at the same time, his speed would still be faster than others. Moreover, as long as the Enlightenment Ancient Tree grew in the future, his speed of comprehending the concept of heaven and earth would definitely be faster. Forget it. Next, I'll focus on comprehending the concept of wind. I originally wanted to put it aside, but it looks like I can't. I'd better go to the forging sect first. I'll cultivate on the way. Lu Ming muttered. Immediately after, Lu Ming stood up and left the courtyard. Not long after, Lu Ming left the profound heaven city. He soared into the sky and flew towards the north. The forging sect was located in the northern part of the profound heaven region. It was located at the intersection of the central and northern parts of the profound heaven region. It was extremely far away from the profound heaven region. Currently, the Heavenly Corpse sect had already occupied the northern part of the profound heaven region. The vast territory was completely under the Heavenly Corpse sect's control. Currently, the territory of the forging sect was at the front line of the war between the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. It was extremely chaotic there. Lu Ming wasn't in a hurry. Not long after he left the profound heaven region, he rushed into a large mountain and captured a half-step king-level swift gale eagle. He sat cross-legged on the swift gale eagle and flew towards the forging sect. The swift gale eagle's speed was extremely fast. A half-step king-level swift gale eagle's speed wasn't inferior to some martial king-level cultivators. Moreover, its endurance was extremely good. Lu Ming could use the swift gale eagle to travel while cultivating and comprehending the concept of wind. Lu Ming took out the Tao comprehending ancient tree and placed it beside him. Then, he took out a profound wind crystal. He had a total of 40 profound wind crystals on him, all of which he had won from the Xing clan in a bet. Crushing the profound wind crystal, Lu Ming started to comprehend the concept of wind. Just like this, Lu Ming traveled while cultivating. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, a month had passed. In a month's time, he had already refined all 40 profound wind crystals. As for the concept of wind, he had also made a breakthrough. He was only a step away from the initial success of the first stage. At this time, Lu Ming had also arrived at the territory near the Forging Sect. This territory was in the middle of the war between the Heavenly Corpse sect and the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. The Forging Sect was also a subsidiary power of the Heavenly Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Naturally, they would stand on the Heavenly Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's side against the Heavenly Corpse sect. Go! Lu Ming patted the swift gale eagle that he had been riding for a month. Then, his figure moved and he flew forward alone. At this point, the swift gale eagle was already useless. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming hadn't flown for long when the sound of something breaking through the air rang out. Two huge coffins stopped in front of Lu Ming. They were from the Heavenly Corpse sect. Hee hee, my luck is pretty good today. I just came out for a walk and I met a little brat. His cultivation seems to be pretty good. I can take him back and refine him into a new corpse. A dry laugh came from the coffin. Today's one should be mine. The next one should be yours. An unpleasant voice came out from the other coffin. All right, I'll let you have him. Let's end this quickly. After dealing with this little brat, we'll go elsewhere and see if there's any prey. The voice from the previous coffin sounded out again. The prey you're talking about, is it me? Lu Ming had a faint smile on his face. Nonsense, if it's not you, then who is it? Little brat, don't even think about escaping. You won't be able to escape from the two of us. Chapter 550. Is that so? Lu Ming sneered and formed a long spear with his true essence. The long spear quickly grew to 1,000 meters long and whipped toward the two coffins. Its power was extremely shocking. No, it's a king of lower success. How is this possible? Two panicked cries came from the coffins. At the same time, the coffins flew backward, trying to escape. But, how could they escape? Boom! The huge spear light directly hit the two coffins. The coffins exploded and 6 figures appeared. 2 old zombie guards and 4 refined corpses. The 2 zombie guards were 3rd layer Martial King Realm and the 4 refined corpses were also 3rd layer Martial King Realm. However, under Lu Ming's spear light, they could not withstand a single blow. The spear light shrouded and suppressed them. The 2 zombie guards screamed and were torn apart along with the 4 refined corpses. His true essence rolled up and put away the 2 storage rings. Then, Lu Ming did not stop and continued to move forward. After a few hundred miles, a series of explosions came from the front. Someone was fighting. Lu Ming frowned and pondered for a while. Then, he walked toward the direction of the sound. 10 miles away, 2 parties were fighting. One party was obviously from the Heavenly Corpse sect. The other party had a total of 6 people. One of them was a young woman in her 20s. She was as beautiful as a flower. There were 2 other young men, and the remaining 3 were middle-aged men. But now, the 6 of them were completely at a disadvantage and were surrounded by the people of the Heavenly Corpse sect. The Heavenly Corpse sect had 8 zombie guards and 17 refined corpses. Their strength was far above the 6 people. Lu Ming quietly appeared not far away. He hid in a remote place and looked forward. The strongest zombie guards are 2 mid-4th layer Martial King Realm. Lu Ming could tell the cultivation level of everyone present at one glance. On the Heavenly Corpse sect side, there were 2 4th layer Martial King Realm kings controlling 4 refined corpses. The other corpse guards were either 3rd layer Martial Emperor Realm or 2nd layer Martial Emperor Realm. As for the group of 6, there was only one middle-aged man with a cultivation of the peak 4th layer Martial Emperor Realm. The other 2 middle-aged men were only at the 3rd layer Martial Emperor Realm. As for the 2 young men and the young woman, they were all 2nd layer Martial Emperor Realm cultivators. They were relying on the middle-aged man with a cultivation of the peak 4th layer Martial Emperor Realm to barely resist the attacks from all directions. However, he would not be able to hold on for long on his own. Kaka, that little girl is not bad. She's so soft and tender. I'll catch her and play with her. Then I'll refine her into a refined corpse and bring her along with me every day. That would be a great joy in life, Kaka. A shriveled old zombie guard let out an ear-piercing laugh. He was one of the 2 mid-4th level Martial King zombie guards. Old ghost, don't even think about it. I'd rather die than submit. The young woman cried out with a pale face. You would rather die than submit? If you die, I can refine you into a refined corpse, hee hee. The old zombie guard let out a weird laugh. The young woman's face turned even paler. She then clenched her teeth, and lines of inscriptions appeared on her jade-like palms. With a wave of her hands, 3 battle swords danced around her body, before slashing at the old zombie guard. However, they were easily blocked by a refined corpse. What a strange way of attacking. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with curiosity. He realized that the attacking methods of the 6 people were very unique. Just like the young woman, inscriptions appeared on their palms as they controlled several mystical weapons at the same time to attack their opponents. Furthermore, the power that each spirit weapon could unleash was extremely powerful. The martial artists that Lu Ming had seen before usually used a mystical weapon in order to unleash the strongest power of their martial skills. For example, Lu Ming was able to unleash the strongest power of his spear art with a long spear. As for those who used a battle sword, they were able to unleash the strongest power of their sword art. It was Lu Ming's first time seeing someone controlling several mystical weapons at the same time. However, although the method of controlling the mystical weapons was mysterious, the difference in strength was too great. They were no match for the 6 people. Not long after, 2 middle-aged 3rd-layer Martial King realm men were injured and vomited blood. Big brother, take the young lady and break out of the encirclement. We'll hold them off here. One of the men yelled at the peak 4th-layer Martial King realm man. That's right, nothing can happen to the young lady. The other man also yelled. No, we'll leave together. The young woman yelled. Hee hee, you want to leave? How is that possible? Today, none of you will leave. The old zombie guard sneered. Big brother, quick, take the young lady and break out of here to find reinforcements. One of the men continued to yell. All right. The 4th-layer Martial King realm man clenched his teeth and madly charged in one direction, while yelling, young lady, follow me, break out. Trying to break out? In your dreams, deal with that guy with all your strength. The old zombie guard sneered as he controlled the refined corpse to pounce at the man without fear of death. At the same time, the other 4th-layer Martial King realm zombie guard also controlled the refined corpse to pounce at the man. The man controlled 4 sabers at the same time and slashed wildly, but it was useless as they were all blocked. Damn it! He let out a furious roar, his voice filled with despair. Kaka, don't even think about escaping. Little beauty, serve this old man obediently. If you serve this old man well, this old man might be merciful and not refine you into a refined corpse. The old zombie guard sneered. Old bastard, go to hell. The young woman was in despair as she clenched her teeth and attacked the old zombie guard. However, she was easily blocked by a 3rd-layer Martial King realm refined corpse. The zombie guard of the Heavenly Corpse sect did not seem to be in a hurry to kill them. It teased the young woman and the others like a cat playing with a mouse. Oh, I see. Lu Ming glanced to the east and west as a cold grin appeared on his face. He discovered that there were auras hiding in the east and west. Although the auras were very weak, Lu Ming could still sense them. The auras were all from the zombie guards of the Heavenly Corpse sect. They're trying to attract the young woman's reinforcements and catch them all in one fell swoop. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. However, the strongest aura among them is only at the 5th-layer Martial King realm. Lu Ming let out a cold grin as he no longer concealed himself and walked out in large strides. Who's there? As soon as Lu Ming walked out, the zombie guard of the Heavenly Corpse sect noticed Lu Ming and yelled. Of course it's the one who's here to kill you. Lu Ming sneered. Hee hee, little bastard, you're alone? You're courting death. The old zombie guard let out a strange laugh. At this moment, the young woman and the others also looked at Lu Ming. When they saw that Lu Ming was alone and was so young, they were immediately disappointed. "Young hero, leave quickly, don't worry about us," the young woman yelled. Lu Ming was alone. If they did not leave, they would also be killed. "Beauty, it's okay. I'll leave after I kill these monsters of the Heavenly Corpse sect." Lu Ming smiled brightly at the young woman. Chapter 551. Brat, you're talking big. Kill him. The old zombie guard waved his hand. Immediately, a third-layer Martial King zombie guard controlled a third-layer Martial King refined corpse to attack Lu Ming. Bang! Lu Ming lifted his leg and kicked the zombie guard away. It flew at least 1,000 meters and hit a cliff, almost breaking it. It lay there motionless. Everyone was dumbfounded. A third-layer Martial King refined corpse was destroyed by Lu Ming with a kick. Was it still a refined corpse with copper skin and iron bones? When did it become so fragile? Fourth-layer Martial King, you're a fourth-layer Martial King. The old zombie guard yelled. They were shocked that he had reached the fourth-layer Martial King at such a young age. The eyes of the young woman and the others also lit up. With one more fourth-layer Martial King Lesser Success King, they might have a chance to rush out. "Little brother, come and help me. Let's rush out together," the man at the peak fourth-layer Martial King yelled. However, Lu Ming did not seem to hear him. He said with a smile, "Why rush out? Just kill them." After saying this, Lu Ming walked toward the old zombie guard step by step. "Brat, so what if you're a fourth-layer Martial King? You want to kill me? In your dreams." The old zombie guard roared and immediately controlled a fourth-layer Martial King zombie guard to attack Lu Ming. 5 or 6 black iron chains pierced toward Lu Ming. There was a faint smile at the corner of Lu Ming's mouth. He stretched out his hand and grabbed 5 to 6 iron chains. Then, he activated the thunder essence and shook his arm. Sizzle! A huge force of thunder and lightning followed the iron chains and blasted toward the fourth-layer Martial King refined corpse. Bang! The refined corpse was directly burned into charcoal by the force of thunder and lightning. At this moment, the old zombie guard's face changed. His dry and pale face turned pale and his eyes flashed with shock. How could he so easily defeat a fourth-layer Martial King realm refined corpse? How was that possible? This young man's combat strength was too strong. As for the young woman and the others, their eyes lit up. Perhaps they would be saved today. "You are a D-Tian Divine Guard, you are a genius among the D-Tian Divine Guards," the old zombie guard shouted. To have such a cultivation base and battle prowess at such a young age, he could only be a top genius among the D-Tian Divine Guards. "You guessed right." Lu Ming smiled faintly. "Kakik, it's worth it to be able to kill a genius from the D-Tian Divine Guard today. Do it." The old zombie guard sneered, then suddenly roared, his voice spreading far and wide. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the next moment, a deafening sonic boom echoed from the east and west as coffins flew over one after another. On each side, there were more than 20 coffins. In total, there were more than 50 coffins in both directions. Ambush, there's an ambush. At this moment, the faces of the young woman and the others were as pale as paper, and they were filled with despair. "Young hero, leave quickly. Don't worry about us," the young woman shouted. Lu Ming smiled faintly. This young lady was kind-hearted. However, this was already within Lu Ming's expectations. More than 50 zombie guards. Fortunately, I still have a lot of soul-sealing crystals on me. When I seal their souls and bring them back, they will all be rewards. Lu Ming thought to himself. The rewards for sealing the souls of the Heavenly Corpse sect zombie guards were not limited to the scaled demon plane. It was the same in other places. As long as one killed the zombie guards, sealed their souls, and brought them back, there would be rewards. Young hero, leave quickly. Seeing Lu Ming standing still, the young woman became anxious. It's too late to leave now. The old zombie guard sneered. Whoosh! The coffins flew above everyone's heads from 2 different directions. They were so dark that they blocked the sunlight in the sky. Bang! At this moment, Lu Ming stomped on the ground and his figure soared into the sky, dashing toward the high altitude. He wants to escape, stop him. The old zombie guard shouted. Several iron chains flew out from one of the coffins and wrapped around Lu Ming. Lu Ming waved his hand and sent them flying. Lu Ming rushed into the sky. Escape? Who wants to escape? Lu Ming's indifferent voice came out. In the next moment, Lu Ming looked down and took a step. After taking a step forward, he took another step forward. Boom! 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 Lu Ming took 3 steps in a row. 9 dragons heaven-stomping steps, 3 steps in a row. Boom! The whole world seemed to be about to explode. An incomparably terrifying force violently rushed towards the coffins. Bang! 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 More than 50 coffins exploded as if they were made of paper. Several figures appeared from the coffins. Some of the zombie guards with weaker cultivations directly exploded, dying tragically on the spot. Some of the stronger zombie guards also spat out large mouthfuls of blood. 10,000 dragons kill. As the 3 intents gathered, Lu Ming's spear shuddered and fired at least a few hundred spear glows, which transformed into a few hundred tricolor dragons that lunged at the zombie guards. Ah! Cries of agony could be heard. Regardless of the zombie guards' cultivation level, they were all unable to resist the attacks. Their bodies were torn apart by the tricolor dragons, and their corpses fell to the ground like raindrops. For a moment, only some of the stronger refined corpses remained in the air, as motionless as a log. More than 50 zombie guards were killed in an instant. Below, everyone was stunned, no longer fighting. They just stood there, staring blankly at the sky, completely petrified. Heavens, more than 50 zombie guards, including more than 10 4th-layer and 5th-layer martial emperors, were killed in an instant. Not a single one managed to escape. What kind of strength was that? Was he a greater success emperor? But, a greater success emperor at such a young age? How many were there in the Tianxian region? The crowd could not wrap their heads around it. Ah! Monster! Monster! Run! Run! After a while, the old zombie guard came to his senses and screamed in fear. He frantically ran to one side. But swoosh! A spear glow fell from the sky and nailed him to the ground. Swoosh! 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 Then, spear after spear fell and nailed the other zombie guards to the ground, leaving none alive. Then, Lu Ming waved his hand and more than 50 soul-sealing crystals flew out. They sealed the souls of all the zombie guards and stored them away. There are only so many soul-sealing crystals left. If we kill more zombie guards, there won't be any left. Lu Ming sighed. If he had known earlier, he would have bought more soul-sealing crystals. After storing them away, Lu Ming moved and appeared beside the young woman and the others. Greetings, Lord Divine Guard. Apart from the young woman, the others quickly bowed to Lu Ming. Such a young and powerful Di Tian Divine Guard must have a high status in the Di Tian Divine Palace. Naturally, they were respectful. No need to be so polite. I just happened to pass by. The Heavenly Corpse sect and the Di Tian Divine Guard are mortal enemies. Since I saw you, I naturally won't let you go. Lu Ming said with a smile. Lord Divine Guard, you are so powerful. Your name is Xian Xiang. May I know your name? The young woman's eyes lit up as she looked at Lu Ming. It was her first time seeing such a young and powerful genius. I am Lu Ming. Chapter 552. Master Lu Ming, you're so powerful. The geniuses of our crafting sect are nothing compared to you. Xian Xiang looked at Lu Ming with sparkling eyes. Ahem. Lu Ming felt a little embarrassed. He coughed a few times before he came to his senses. Are you from the forging sect? Yes, my father is the sect leader of the crafting sect. Xian Xiang had no ulterior motives. She said it directly. She stared at Lu Ming curiously. Ahem, miss, please mind your manners. The burly man reminded her. Mind what? Master Lu Ming is one of us. Xian Xiang chuckled. Lu Ming smiled as well. This Xian Xiang was obviously a young lady who had no experience and was not scheming. Miss Xian Xiang, everyone, I'm going to the crafting sect to look for your sect leader. Lu Ming said. You're going to the crafting sect to look for my father? That's great. Let's go together. Xian Xiang's eyes lit up. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. The others were also overjoyed. With Lu Ming with them, they had nothing to fear from the Heavenly Corpse sect. Then, the group of people went on their way to the north. Sir Lu Ming, you are really amazing. You are so powerful at such a young age. How did you cultivate? Master Lu Ming, you're so powerful. What's your rank in the Imperial Sky Divine Guards? How many geniuses like you are in the Imperial Sky Divine Guards? Master Lu Ming, do you have a girlfriend? Why don't I introduce one to you? I'll introduce myself. Hee, I'm just kidding. Master Lu Ming, I heard that Xing Xingshan is the #1 genius in the Tianxian domain and is on the list of top 1,000 talents. How do you compare to him, Master Lu Ming? Have you seen him before, Master Lu Ming? Along the way, Xian Xiang followed by Lu Ming's side, her mouth rattling, asking non-stop. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and cast a pleading look at the others beside him. However, they all revealed helpless expressions and turned their heads away, pretending that they did not see anything. Lu Ming felt a headache coming on. After flying for hundreds of miles, Xian Xiang asked at least dozens of questions. At this moment, Lu Ming's reinforcements arrived. Whoosh! Whoosh! In front of them, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out. More than 50 people were flying towards them at an extremely fast speed. Every one of them had a strong aura. They were obviously experts. The leader was a young man in a white robe. It's Xian Zhong. A burly man at the side said. Soon, more than 50 people arrived. Xiang Xiang, are you all right? The young man in the lead looked at Xian Xiang with concern and asked. It would be strange if we were fine. If it were up to you, we would have died long ago. Why did you come so late? Xian Xiang curled her lips and snorted coldly. Xian Zhong's face changed and said, Did you guys meet someone from the Heavenly Corpse sect? Nonsense, of course we met. If it wasn't for Master Lu Ming, you wouldn't be able to see me. Let me introduce you guys. This is Master Lu Ming, a Tian Divine Guard. Master Lu Ming is a peerless genius. Those corpse guards were killed by Master Lu Ming in a few moves. This is the first time I've seen such a powerful genius. Xian Xiang stood beside Lu Ming and introduced him to everyone with a look of admiration. However, she did not see that a trace of coldness flashed in Xian Zhong's eyes. Tian Divine Guard? Xiang Xiang, he really is a member of the Tian Divine Guard. Don't be fooled by him. Maybe he was sent by the Heavenly Corpse sect to get close to you. You also know that people from the Heavenly Corpse sect have been appearing more frequently around the weapon forging sect recently. Xian Zhong looked at Lu Ming unkindly and said coldly. You're talking nonsense. Master Lu Ming is so powerful. He must be a genius among the Tian Divine Guards. Moreover, he killed so many corpse guards in a few moves. If he's from the Heavenly Corpse sect, how could he kill so many corpse guards? Moreover, those disgusting fellows from the Heavenly Corpse sect are all so ugly. How could they be as good-looking as Master Lu Ming? Xian Xiang retorted loudly. Lu Ming smiled bitterly at the side. Xian Xiang was really naive and innocent. Xian Zhong was obviously interested in Xian Xiang, but Xian Xiang still praised Lu Ming. Didn't this make Xian Zhong even more unhappy? As expected, Xian Zhong's face became even gloomier. A trace of killing intent flashed in his eyes. He looked at Lu Ming and said, "Lu Ming, right? Now that I've arrived, we're going back to the weapon forging sect. Please leave." In other words, he wanted Lu Ming to leave. "Hey, Xian Zhong, why are you like this? What's with your attitude? Master Lu Ming saved me before. Moreover, he's going to the weapon forging sect to see my father. He can go back with us." Xian Xiang's face darkened and she said unhappily. "He's going to the weapon forging sect too? No, what if he has evil intentions?" Xian Zhong said with a gloomy face. "This is my divine guard token. Do you want to take a look?" Before Xian Zhong could finish his words, Lu Ming interrupted him and took out his divine guard token. Lu Ming was going to the weapon forging sect to ask for the 1,000 refined blood gold. He couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with Xian Zhong. Seeing Lu Ming take out his divine guard token, Xian Zhong's face became even gloomier. The weapon forging sect was affiliated to the Di Tian Divine Palace. Since Lu Ming was really a Di Tian Divine Guard, Xian Zhong had no reason to stop Lu Ming from going to the weapon forging sect. I already said that Master Lu Ming is a genius among the Di Tian Divine Guards. Someone didn't believe me. Xian Xiang snorted coldly. This made Xian Zhong's face turn even uglier. "Let's go. Let's go back to the weapon forging sect." Xian Zhong waved his hand and led the way. The group continued to head towards the north. Along the way, Xian Xiang followed Lu Ming and chatted with him. From Xian Xiang, Lu Ming found out that Xian Zhong was the only son of the weapon forging sect's great elder. He was also the #1 genius among the younger generation in the weapon forging sect. He was only 28 years old and he had already reached Martial King realm lower tier. Lu Ming nodded his head. Such talent was considered top-notch even in the Di Tian Divine Palace, where geniuses were as common as clouds. Lu Ming could also tell that Xian Xiang had some feelings for Xian Zhong. Lu Ming naturally didn't think that Xian Xiang liked him. Xian Xiang was just a simple-minded girl who worshipped experts. When she saw a genius like Lu Ming for the first time, she naturally admired him and was curious about him. However, she didn't like him. In front of them, Xian Zhong's face turned gloomier when he saw Xian Xiang and Lu Ming chatting happily. Murderous intent constantly flashed in his eyes. They chatted as they hurried on. Soon, they had covered a distance of 10,000 miles. A huge and majestic mountain appeared in front of them. This was the weapon forging sect. Following Xian Xiang, they entered the weapon forging sect without any obstructions and arrived at the peak of the mountain. "Miss Xian Xiang, young master Xian Zhong, you are back. The sect master and the elders are having a meeting in the meeting hall. I'll inform them about it," a white-haired old man said as he appeared in front of them. All right. Grandpa Zhang, please inform my father that Lu Ming, the Di Tian Divine Guard of the Di Tian Divine Palace, has something to discuss with him." Xian Xiang nodded her head. "Oh, all right." Chapter 553. Not long after, the white-haired elder returned. "Miss Xian Xiang, the sect master has asked you to enter," the elder said. Immediately, Lu Ming, Xian Xiang, and Xian Zhong followed the elder into the hall. As for the others, they dispersed. They followed the elder and passed through several checkpoints before arriving at a large hall. There were 8 people sitting in the hall. Sitting at the top was a middle-aged man with a square face. He was extremely burly. "Father." Xianxiang called out with a smile as soon as she came in. This burly man was the sect master of the crafting sect, Xianlong. I heard that you were attacked by the corpse guards of the Heavenly Corpse sect. How are you? Are you all right? You little girl, I told you not to run around but you didn't listen. Xianlong stood up from his seat and walked down. He looked at Xianxiang carefully and scolded her with a smile. Obviously, Xianlong had received the news that Xianxiang and the others had encountered the corpse guards. Father, I'm blessed with good fortune. I have a benefactor to help me. What are you afraid of? Come, let me introduce you. This is Lu Ming, a peerless genius among the Tian divine guards. Those zombie guards are powerless in the hands of Lord Lu Ming. Be it novice kings, all of them are useless. Xianxiang pulled Xianlong's arm and said with a smile. Then, she looked at Lu Ming and introduced him to Xianlong and the others smiled. They did not pay much attention to Xianxiang's words about Lu Ming's strength. Lu Ming looked like he was in his 20s. Even if he was a genius among the divine guards, how strong could his cultivation be? How strong could his combat strength be? It was already amazing for him to reach the 4th level Martial King realm. In their opinion, Xianxiang was innocent and rarely went out. She was just a little excited to see a decent genius. However, Lu Ming was after all a divine guard. There were still some rules that could not be ignored. Xianlong cupped his fists and said, "Little brother Lu Ming, thank you for saving us this time." "You're welcome, Sect Master Xian. It's just a small matter." Lu Ming returned the gesture. "I heard that you have something to ask me." "What is it?" Xianlong said. "Sect leader Xian, it's like this. Elder Huang asked me to come." Lu Ming did not beat around the bush. He took out the small pagoda that Elder Huang had given him. Elder Huang. At this moment, not only Xianlong, but the expressions of the others in the hall also changed slightly. It really is Elder Huang. Xianlong sized up Lil Pagoda, his face filled with respect. He couldn't help but think more highly of Lu Ming. According to what he knew, this pagoda was Elder Huang's keepsake. He wouldn't easily give it to others, but now he had given it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming's position in Elder Huang's heart wasn't low. Elder Huang has done me a great favor, and even the weapon forging sect owes him a great favor. It's a pity that he hasn't come to the weapon forging sect for more than 20 years. May I ask why you've called this little brother here? Xianlong asked in a much more polite tone. It's nothing major. Recently, Elder Huang has been wanting to forge a spirit weapon and is lacking materials. He called me here to see if I can ask the sect master for a piece of 1,000 refined blood gold. Lu Ming said. 1,000 refined blood gold. Xianlong and the others' expressions changed once again. 1,000 refined blood gold. You want 1,000 refined blood gold? Impossible, we can't give you 1,000 refined blood gold. A voice rang out. It was Xianzhong. At this moment, Xianzhong's expression was extremely ugly. He looked at Lu Ming with hostility and said, "Brat, do you know how precious 1,000 refined blood gold is? We don't even have enough people in the crafting sect. The entire crafting sect can only forge one piece of 1,000 refined blood gold in a few years. Who do you think you are to ask for 1,000 refined blood gold? Don't even think about it." Xianzhong, shut up. What's with your attitude? How dare you speak to little brother Lu like that? Xianlong shouted, glaring at Xianzhong with rage. Sect master, Xianzhong was startled by Xianlong's anger and kept his mouth shut. Little brother Lu is here on Elder Huang's request. What is a piece of 1,000 refined blood gold? Little brother Lu, a piece of 1,000 refined blood gold is not a problem. Xianlong said. Sect master, there's only one piece of 1,000 refined blood gold left in the sect. You said it was for me. How can you give it to him now? Xianzhong shouted again. That's right. At this moment, a man in his 50s with a long beard stood up and said, "Sect Master, since we said it was for Zhong, it belongs to him. We can't just give it to him because of Elder Huang's words. If Elder Huang wants it, that's fine. We'll forge another piece of 1,000 refined blood gold in a few years and I'll personally give it to Elder Huang." This man with a long beard was the crafting sect's Grand Elder and also Xian Zhong's father, Xian Yuan. Xian Long frowned and said, "Elder Huang has not only shown great kindness to me, but also to all of you. Without him, we wouldn't be where we are today. We haven't repaid his kindness for many years. Since Elder Huang has spoken, it must be urgent. There's no reason to refuse. I've already made up my mind. This piece of 1,000 refined blood gold will be given to little brother Lu. As for Xian Zhong, we'll wait a few years." "No, Sect Master, I refuse to accept this." Xian Zhong shouted, "Who knows where this brat came from? Who knows if he was sent by Elder Huang? Even if he was, who does he think he is? How can he take my 1,000 refined blood gold? Impossible, I refuse." "Xian Zhong, that piece of 1,000 refined blood gold isn't yours yet. Father only said that he wanted to give it to you, but that was only on purpose." Xian Xiang glared at Xian Zhong. "Xiang Xiang, even you. Good, very good." Xian Zhong repeatedly said "good" before turning to Lu Ming with a sinister expression. "Brat, I don't care who you are or who sent you here. Treasures belong to the strong. If you want the 1,000 refined blood gold, fine, but we'll have to see how capable you are. I heard that you're very strong. Come, let's fight. If you can beat me, I'll give the 1,000 refined blood gold to you." Lu Ming bitterly smiled. He didn't expect that a piece of 1,000 refined blood gold would cause such a commotion. It seemed that the 1,000 refined blood gold was more precious than he had imagined. Lu Ming felt a little embarrassed and said, "Brother Xian, there's no need for a fight. How about this, I'll buy the 1,000 refined blood gold with spirit crystals." "How about that? Buy it with spirit crystals? Fine, I'll sell it to you as long as you take out 10 million spirit crystals." Xian Zhong sneered. Xian Long frowned at his words. Lu Ming also frowned. "Xian Zhong." Xian Xiang glared at Xian Zhong and said, "You're clearly making things difficult for him. How can a piece of 1,000 refined blood gold cost 10 million spirit crystals?" Xian Zhong clenched his teeth and looked at Lu Ming with disdain. "What? Brat, you don't have spirit crystals and you don't dare to fight? What genius of the Empyrean Divine Guards? Bullshit. All you can do is trick Xiang Xiang. Show your true colors now. In my opinion, Elder Huang must be lying to you." Lu Ming frowned. Seeing that Lu Ming didn't speak, Xian Zhong became even more aggressive and said, "Brat, kneel down and apologize. Then get lost and I'll forgive your crime of deceit." "Enough. Xian Zhong, little brother Lu has Elder Huang's token. It can't be fake. In the Tianxian region, if Elder Huang isn't willing, no one can obtain his token." Chapter 554. Sect Master, in my opinion, the reason why Elder Huang called a young man here is to test him. Let the young people settle their own matters. We shouldn't interfere. Xian Yuan said. "All right." At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly spoke. He looked at Xian Zhong and said, "Since you want to fight, I'll keep you company." "All right, I've been waiting for you to say that. Let's fight outside." Seeing that Lu Ming had accepted the challenge, Xian Zhong's eyes flashed coldly and he strode outside. Lu Ming followed closely behind. Xian Long let out a sigh and walked out of the hall with the other elders. That Xian Zhong is really despicable. Xian Xiang snorted. Outside the hall was a spacious square that was perfect for a fight. Lu Ming and Xian Zhong stood opposite each other. "Brother Xian, how about we stop when it's appropriate?" Lu Ming said. "After all, He was the one who came to the blacksmith sect to ask for the 1,000 refined blood gold. Therefore, Lu Ming felt a little embarrassed. Stop when it's appropriate. Hee, on the battlefield, swords have no eyes. If you're afraid, quickly admit defeat. Xian Zhong's aura was imposing. Lu Ming frowned again. Buzz. Buzz. At this moment, Xian Zhong's aura exploded. At the same time, inscriptions appeared on his palm. With a wave of his hand, a total of 5 spiritual weapons appeared. These 5 spirit weapons were all different from each other. There were 2 battle swords, a saber, a spear, and a dagger. Kill! Xian Zhong shouted and pounced on Lu Ming. At the same time, the 5 spiritual weapons also charged at Lu Ming. Buzz! Buzz! The 5 spiritual weapons came from different directions and slashed at Lu Ming's vital points. Their attacks were swift and vicious. It didn't seem like a spar, but a battle. Lu Ming frowned. His figure swayed, avoiding a few spirit weapons and appearing in another direction. Trying to dodge. You wish. Die. Xian Zhong's eyes were filled with vicious killing intent. He waved his hands and the 5 spirit weapons continued to attack Lu Ming at lightning speed. The weapon forging sect's method of controlling weapons was truly wondrous. Lu Ming executed his movement technique, wanting to dodge. At this moment, Xian Zhong revealed a ruthless expression and shook his sleeve. Whoosh! 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 More than 10 sharp piercing sounds could be heard. More than 10 sharp steel needles flew out from Xian Zhong's sleeves and pierced Lu Ming's eyes at lightning speed. Xian Zhong, you're despicable. Xian Xiang shouted. Damn it! Xian Long roared in anger. However, it was too late for him to save Xian Long. At this moment, Xian Long was filled with regret. If he had known this would happen, he would have directly given Lu Ming the 1,000 refined blood metal and allowed Lu Ming to return to the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. If Lu Ming died in Xian Zhong's hands, he really didn't know how to explain it to Elder Huang. Don't push your luck. At this moment, Lu Ming's cold voice sounded. Boom! Following which, a terrifying aura exploded from Lu Ming's body. A huge spear radiance shot out from Lu Ming's body and soared into the sky. When the steel needles came into contact with the spear radiance, they exploded and turned into iron powder. Boom! Lu Ming waved his hand and the huge spear radiance swept towards Xian Zhong. Bam! Bam! The 5 spiritual weapons were sent flying a few thousand meters away by the spear radiance. The huge spear radiance continued towards Xian Zhong. Xian Zhong was completely stunned. In front of Lu Ming's terrifying aura, he was like a pitiful worm. Stop! Grand Elder Xian Yuan shouted from the side. However, would Lu Ming care about him? Bam! The spear radiance struck Xian Zhong's body and sent him flying. He slid a few thousand meters on the square and spat out blood from his mouth. Of course, this was because Lu Ming had purposely held back and only used 10% of his strength. Otherwise, Xian Zhong would have been blasted into nothingness. Zhong, Xian Yuan rushed over to check on Xian Zhong's injuries. Such powerful combat strength. He is only at the early stage of LV4 Martial King Realm, but his combat strength should be at the late stage of LV5 Martial King Realm or even the peak of LV5 Martial King Realm. Not bad. He is so young and yet he has such cultivation and combat strength. No wonder he is a genius among the D Tian Divine Guards. Xian Zhong's defeat is justified. The elders of the blacksmith sect discussed and exclaimed. Xian Zhong was also at the early stage of LV4 Martial King Realm, but he could not withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. If they knew that Lu Ming had only used 10% of his strength, what would their expressions be? Humph, I told you that Lu Ming is a peerless genius, but Xian Zhong did not listen. Now he is beaten. Xian Xiang snorted and walked over to check on Xian Zhong. Xianzhong's injuries were not serious. He stood up and looked at Lu Ming in shock. But deep in his eyes, there was a trace of murderous intent, but he hid it. All right, since little brother Lu has won, the 1,000 refined blood gold belongs to little brother Lu. Xianlong announced. He then looked at Lu Ming and smiled. Little brother Lu, the 1,000 refined blood gold is still in the demonic beast blood pool. If you want to take it out, you will have to wait until tomorrow. How about you stay in the blacksmith sect for a night and I will give you the 1,000 refined blood gold tomorrow? No problem. Thank you, Sect Master Xian. Lu Ming cupped his fists. Xianlong then asked someone to arrange a room for Lu Ming. Lord Lu Ming, let me show you around. There are some interesting places in the blacksmith sect. Xianxiang smiled. All right. Lu Ming smiled and nodded. The blacksmith sect was indeed a great blacksmith sect. There were places and secret rooms for blacksmithing everywhere. Lu Ming followed Xianxiang and wandered around with great interest. As for Xianxiang, she was also chattering away. Her curiosity was very strong, asking non-stop. Since young, Xianxiang had always been active in the area around the blacksmith sect. She had never left the sect, so she was very curious about the outside world. Lu Ming also had a good impression of Xianxiang. Although Xianxiang was a few years older than Lu Ming, she was like a naughty little sister in front of Lu Ming. Therefore, Lu Ming would briefly talk about the things that could be said. Lu Ming only left Xianxiang in the evening and returned to his residence. Then, he entered the Temple of Paragon and placed the Enlightenment Ancient Tree beside him. Lu Ming continued to comprehend the concept of wind. In the blacksmith sect, 3 figures sat in the Grand Elder's living room. One was the Grand Elder, Xian Yuan, and the other was Xianzhong. The last one was a burly man in his 30s. Father, I will definitely take revenge. I will definitely kill that little bastard Lu Ming. Xianzhong roared and his eyes were filled with hatred. Don't worry. I don't care if that little bastard is Elder Huang's man. He must die. Xian Yuan's eyes flashed coldly. Father, when are we going to carry out the plan? Xianzhong asked. You finally thought it through? Are you going to carry out the plan? Xian Yuan asked. I was reluctant to let that bitch Xianxiang go. But now, that bitch has only seen that little bastard Lu Ming for a short while, and she's already flirting with him. Damn it, all of them deserve to die. Chapter 555. It's good that you've thought it through. How can you be held back by personal feelings when doing great things? Xian Yuan nodded and continued, the Heavenly Corpse sect only used 300 years to expand to its current strength. In my opinion, it won't be long before the Heavenly Corpse sect's strength surpasses the Emperor Sky Divine Palace. If the Weapon Forging sect and Emperor Sky Divine Palace are tied together, the Heavenly Corpse sect will be destroyed sooner or later. How can we die with the Weapon Forging sect? Right now, the Heavenly Corpse sect has set their sights on a treasure in the Weapon Forging sect. They will take action soon. At that time, we will cooperate with the Heavenly Corpse sect and defeat the Weapon Forging sect together. We will be the heroes of the Heavenly Corpse sect. How many more days will it take? But Lu Ming, that little bastard, will leave after taking the 1,000 refined blood gold tomorrow. Xianzhong said. How about this? After Lu Ming leaves tomorrow, ask your senior brother to go with you. We will kill Lu Ming on the way and take back the 1,000 refined blood gold. Xian Yuan said. Yes, master. The strong man in his 30s replied. Good. Senior brother's cultivation has reached the peak of the 6th Martial King realm. With senior brother's help, it will be more than enough to kill Lu Ming. Xianzhong laughed. Then, they started to conspire again. The night passed quickly. The next day, Xianlong sent someone to pass on a message. Considering that Lu Ming had been in Tianxian City for a long time, the 1,000 refined blood gold might lose some of its spirituality if it was not used for a long time. Therefore, Qianlong and the rest planned to inscribe a layer of seal on the 1,000 refined blood gold to seal the spirituality of the 1,000 refined blood gold so that the spirituality of the 1,000 refined blood gold would not be lost due to time. Therefore, it would take some time. It would probably be done in the evening. Lu Ming nodded. He did not mind and continued to wait. Sure enough, in the evening, Qianlong asked someone to bring Lu Ming to the meeting hall. When he arrived at the meeting hall, he saw Qianlong and Xianxiang. There were only the two of them here. Little brother, sorry to keep you waiting. That's the 1,000 refined blood gold. Qianlong smiled and pointed to the center of the hall. Sect Master Xian, you're too polite. Lu Ming said and looked at the center of the hall. In the middle of the hall, there was a piece of dark red metal. This piece of metal had been polished into a perfect square, with a length, width, and height of about 1/2 meter. On the surface, there were lines that looked like the growth rings of a tree. There were more than 1,000 of them. On the surface of the 1,000 refined blood gold, there was a layer of glowing inscriptions. It must be the inscription array that Qianlong and the others had set up to prevent the loss of its spirituality. This was 1,000 refined blood gold. Lu Ming walked over and picked it up. His expression changed slightly. This piece of 1,000 refined blood gold was incomparably heavy. Little brother, the 1,000 refined blood gold is forged using a secret technique of the weapon refining sect. It needs to be tempered 1,000 times, and each time, precious metals and the blood essence of demonic beasts are added. The entire process takes 3 years. This piece of 1,000 refined blood gold weighs 999,900 kilograms. Qianlong smiled proudly. Lu Ming was inwardly shocked. This piece of 1,000 refined blood gold weighed almost 1,000,000 pounds. Moreover, the process was so complicated, which showed how precious it was. Lu Ming expressed his gratitude once again and put the 1,000 refined blood gold into his interspatial ring. Lord Lu Ming, if you have time in the future, come visit the weapon refining sect more often. I still have many questions to ask you. Xianxiang said with some reluctance. Okay. Lu Ming smiled. Girl, all you think about is going out and adventuring. You don't know how dangerous the outside world is. Qianlong scolded with a smile. Sect Master Xian, Miss Xianxiang, take care of yourselves. If you have the chance, come find me in Profound Heaven City. Lu Ming cupped his fists and bid farewell to Qianlong and Xianxiang. He then left the weapon refining sect and flew towards Profound Heaven City. Lu Ming finally obtained the 1,000 refined blood gold. He couldn't wait to return to Profound Heaven City and enter seclusion to comprehend the concept of wind. As long as his concept of wind reached lesser success, it would reach a balance with the concepts of lightning and fire. Then, his cultivation could continue to increase. Flying as fast as lightning, tens of thousands of miles passed in the blink of an eye. At this time, the sky had completely darkened. Whoosh! Suddenly, a ghastly white saber gleam slashed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. His figure flashed and he dodged the saber light. 2 figures appeared in front of him. They stepped on the air and walked towards him. Xianzhong. Lu Ming's gaze turned cold. One of them was Xianzhong. The other was a strong man in his 30s. Hee, Lu Ming, let's see where you can run now. Die, the 1,000 refined blood gold is mine. Xianzhong sneered. Xianzhong, you really don't give up. I originally wanted to spare your life for Xianxiang's sake, but you just had to come and die. Lu Ming's gaze also turned cold. Shameless boasting. My father sent my senior brother here. You're dead. Also, don't mention that bitch Xianxiang in front of me. Speak, did something happen between you two? That bitch is a bitch. And that old man Qianlong, in 2 days, I want them all dead. All dead. Xianzhong's expression was extremely ferocious. Lu Ming's expression changed as he snapped, "What are you going to do to sect leader Xian and the others?" "Hee, what am I going to do? Let's talk about it when you're in the underworld." "Senior brother, kill him!" Xianzhong roared. Bang! Bang! The burly man stepped on the void, exuding an incomparably powerful aura. Every step he took in the void produced a clattering sound. Peak 6th layer Martial King Realm. Lu Ming was startled. "Huh, Lu Ming, my senior brother has reached the peak 6th layer Martial King Realm. He's only one step away from breaking through to the greater success stage. You're strong, but are you comparable to my senior brother? Die!" Xianzhong laughed excitedly. Die! The strong man yelled as his muscles bulged and he slashed out with his saber. The saber light was mighty, slicing the air in half and stirring up gusts of wind. In the blink of an eye, the saber light was about to land on Lu Ming's head. At that moment, a long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand and was placed above his head. Clang! The saber light collided with the spear and a powerful force was emitted. However, Lu Ming's body remained motionless like an ancient sacred mountain. Xianzhong and the strong man's expressions changed drastically. Peak 6th layer Martial King Realm? Hee. Lu Ming sneered and stepped forward with the long spear in his hand. Mountain-splitting slash. The strong man roared as he unleashed his full strength and slashed out again. This slash was twice as powerful as the previous one. This was the strongest attack the strong man could muster. However, in the next moment, he was in despair. Lu Ming swept out with his long spear and the saber light shattered into nothingness. "Oh no, junior brother, run!" The strong man's expression darkened as he yelled. Whoosh! Lu Ming merged with his spear and performed the extreme Dao strike. The spear light flashed and blood spurted out. The strong man's forehead was pierced through. Then, a devouring force erupted and devoured the strong man's blood essence. No, how could this be? Xianzhong almost burst into tears as he ran toward the crafting sect. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.